guys, we are officially live. Second day, second episode. Uh, a little bit late. We were intending to do this on Tuesday. It's technically already Wednesday, but it's all right. It is what it is. It's technically. I want you guys to watch this and think this is what you should be expecting every Tuesday. And we're talking about. Well, the show's going to be called "Talk About It Tuesdays." Why is that? Because we're here to talk about it. We're here to talk about it. But what exactly are we talking about? Well, before we get into that, let me go ahead and introduce my co-host joining me today. First, we got my to left of me, uh, Et, my homie. You know, my brother from
What's
another
up?
mother. Was good, boy.
ET, phone home.
Yeah.
You know, and then we got my blood brother, all the way from
Blood.
all the way from
Brother.
Florida. E-Man, the He-Man.
What
I
up?
mean, look, it speaks for itself. Um, so, how about we started it off that way? Et, go ahead and say a few things about yourself. Let the viewers know who you is, what you about, and what we here for.
All right. Well, first of all, sorry about the camera. I'm currently charging my phone, so it's a little bit hard to use the camera. But pretty much I'm ET. I enjoy anime, watching. I enjoy comic books. I'm an overall geek, man. Like
Hey,
I just love all this stuff, man. Comic books, geeks, comic book movies, fucking like anime, manga, oh, just anything that has to do with just being a geek, bro. It's just me. It screams out
hey,
ET.
yes, sir.
I mean,
Geek.
my initials scream out geek. You get what I'm saying?
Well,
Okay, okay. And how about you, E man? How about you introduce yourself, talk to us about what you is, what you about, what you're here for.
let's get it. Well, my name is Emmanuel. That's actually my real name. My like Mike, or I should say El Divino said. I'm his blood brother, younger brother. Uh, yeah. Same here. I like comics. I like anime. Uh, Anything geek, I probably am curious, minded too. Um, I got El Divino into comics, by the way, just to put
Big
everybody
facts.
on.
Big
I
facts.
was in high school. I was a very much follower of the Flash. By the way, that's my favorite uh, Justice Leaguer. I believe he could be. He beats the whole Justice League no matter what. That's my opinion.
Mm.
But
Oh,
yeah,
that's a really hard statement.
that is, but I'm sticking to it, man. I'm sticking to it till the
That's
day
not
I
true.
die.
I'm sticking to it.
uh, but yeah, just getting just getting informed about the Zack Snyder movement and pretty much on the sideline just viewing. So, but yeah, that's me, guys. I'm here in Florida, beautiful weather. Used to live in Chi-Town with El Divino, but that
Yeah.
cold.
It's cold. It's cold. It's so cold. It's so cold. It's so cold. All right. But like I said, okay, we're here to talk about it. What are we here to talk about?
Let's
Well,
talk about it.
let's talk about it, right? First things first. Let's just already address the main elephant in the room, and that's the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and the hype around it. You know what I
Mm,
mean? You already know what it is. I got the hat. Uh, I got the I Love Ray Fisher shirt because technically Tuesday was Cyborg Day. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you guys been keeping up with those teaser trailers of each Justice League member that's been coming
Oh
out
yeah, the
daily.
what,
cyborg
man?
story is definitely gonna go deep.
I'm so behind, man. I gotta get into this. What the hell am I? What am I doing?
It's been crazy, man. And I don't know if you guys also knew that on Twitch, I think it came out a little earlier than what it was supposed to, but there was that Dark Side teaser.
Oh yeah, with this I don't know what was wrong with his chest. I don't know if they were trying to do the mega symbol in his chest, but
I think that's what
it
they were
kind of looks a
going.
little bit weird.
To my point to that, as I've said to a few people, he's an alien. He's not supposed to look
he,
normal. You know
yeah,
what
he is an
Right.
alien.
No,
It's just
not
you
to
know,
no
me,
feature of it human.
you know what I
to
mean?
me, like if they were gonna do something with his chest, at least like make it look like the omega symbol, instead of a big like hole in the
Ah,
middle. That's what
Oh,
I have an issue with.
I said to somebody, I think the dude's just heartless because the heart is technically in the center.
He said he heartless.
oh
I
no.
mean, so that to me, it's one of those things like uh, it. We've never seen him without a shirt, so who can say what it's supposed to look like? You know what I mean? Like this is the first time.
True.
Right.
Yeah, I'll take it as it is. You know what I'm saying? Him with the armor, though, to me, it's like, damn, that boy looked like Darkseid. You know, once you
He
see him
looks
in that
swole.
armor, he looks swole as hell. He looks threatening.
He
Um,
does.
he's
He
got that
does.
apocalyptic threat on him, all over him. You know,
That right. Some
so
rock look, rock solid
yeah,
looking.
yeah. And then that voice, I mean, Ray
Can we
Porter's
like,
boy.
man? I'm enjoying the fact that they added um Granny Goodness and oh my god already
Decide.
yeah, there you go. God by his side, bro. Like you had like you have to understand that really like he they're part of him, you know. Like they are a big factor in
Oh yeah,
his reign, you
they're
should
part
say,
of
you
the
know.
apocalyptic family, or I forget what it's called,
Right.
Dark Side family, whatever it's called.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, no, when I saw them personally, I'm like, yo, like this is sick. Like we nobody was expecting that. Nobody was. You know. So I'm glad we got it though. And I'm glad we're getting it. Um, but with that being said, now that we're seeing what we're getting,
Spoilers for
you
those who
know,
haven't seen the trailer, right?
right. I hope you've seen the
But
trailer. If
hopefully,
not,
but
Spoiler
yeah, I've
alert.
seen that trailer at least.
right, I hope you at least watch the trailer, or at
If
least
you
I
haven't
hope
seen the
that.
trailer, big shame.
Right, big shame.
Right.
Or I hope that if you haven't seen the trailer, you would be smart enough not to even get on YouTube and watch channels talk about
Right, that's right.
Snyder
The
Cut. So
movement, the
yeah.
move, right?
So but with that being said, we know what we're getting. You know, or at least from what we do know what we're getting, because there's obviously 4 hours of content we don't know. You know, but as far as like knowing we're getting Dark Side, we knowing we're getting Granny Goodness, Dasad, the new looking,
Like if
fierce,
Martian Manhunter.
scary looking, yeah, Martian. Oh, yeah, I was gonna say Steppenwolf, but yeah, Martian Manhunter. Now we're also getting Martian
He said
Manhunter.
Steppenwolf.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, I
well, because I
forgot.
was trying to stick to the apocalyptic family
Yeah,
first,
the
not
bad guys.
Martian,
Yeah.
yeah, and then talk about the good guys. But so like,
Yeah.
okay, let's rewind that. The
The
scary,
apocalypse
Uh,
spiky
family, my bad.
looking Steppenwolf, and now from looking at these teasers, we know we're getting Joker, and we know we're getting
Yep.
Deathstroke,
I know. Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
possibly
And
Luther. We
and
don't even know yet, but
Well,
I can assume he'll be in that movie. Um,
Joker, I am very scared of, but I am hoping that Jared Leto comes back around. uh, that's just my
I mean,
opinion.
so far,
I didn't like his Suicide Squad. Just I don't really want to talk about on why, but like I think he knows what. So I think he knows
here,
that there
I
were some
think he
things he had.
knows. I think he knows
here's what
why
I will
people
say
are.
about that. What I'll honestly say about that is that I can't blame Jared Leto because he did have a lot of scenes recorded, like a
Big
lot.
facts.
I do blame Warner Brothers though for picking out the scenes that they did pick out to put in the movie
Right.
because it just made his performance seem very, very terrible.
Yeah, very terrible, very minuscule, unimportant, irrelevant, really, in the grand scheme of things. And then,
Yep,
especially when you
like
consider where they've gone with even Birds of Prey and Harley Quinn as a character, it's just like,
I didn't even.
Yeah,
You know what?
let's
Believe it or
Yeah.
not,
let's
I
For,
let's save
shit.
that though. Let's save that. Let's save
Okay.
that topic
Okay.
because we are gonna get there. We are gonna talk about the future. I mean, it's good to talk about the past because obviously the past is what's dictating the future, but it's also the present. Um, but yeah, I agree with you,
all I can
Zam.
say is that I like the new Joker look.
Yes, yes.
I
Yeah.
like the
Uh,
Yeah.
new
I like
way the Joker's being
this
shown.
nightmare Joker. That's what I'm calling him, nightmare Joker, because
Nightmare.
Like he looks like a good Joker. It's like just even that quote that he said,
oh,
like
I get
what
goosebumps
was it
hearing it.
again? We live in a society
Where
where
honor is a
honor is a
distant
distant
memory.
memory.
Oh,
Like what?
wouldn't you
Yeah.
say,
Hey,
Batman?
just for anybody that doesn't know this, uh, we live in a society was actually a Joker meme from back in the day too.
It's but
A
see,
lot of people don't know
a
that.
lot of people don't know that, and the funny thing is that think about the Joker movie that just came out. What does he say when he's on the talk
Yep.
show? We live in a society that ignores da 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 da.
Where
He goes on his rant, but he
yep.
says the same thing. We live in a society. Joker's problem has always been with society,
Society.
The
even when you look at
society.
and even in the Dark Knight movie. What does
Dark
Joker
Knight.
say
Yeah.
about the event in the in the hospital, right? We
Oh
live
yeah.
in a society, right? Like this is Joker. So this is when I saw that line and uh, uh, you know him say that gave me the assurance like he's in good hands.
It's gonna be yeah. He's in good hands. Like
Zack Snyder knows what he's doing. You know, um,
he's not Warner Brothers hands. That's for sure.
big facts. Exactly,
Big
exactly.
fat man, and like it's crazy because like the rants could go on how much bullshit we had to. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope that
No,
could
no,
get
no. You're good. You're good.
uh, we no, but for real, like with having to deal with all that bukaka, as far as like just man, just the things that we really don't appreciate, and we just know it's just Warner Brothers' hands, like could keep going,
Yeah.
we
I
could like
mean, they
And
ruined
that
a whole man's vision just because they wanted to be selfish. You know.
I would
bro
argue, I would even argue they ruining one man's vision ruined it for the rest.
rest, yeah,
Yeah, it
Ruined it
did.
for the
Yep.
rest. Like it ruined it
like
for David Ayer. It ruined it for James Wan. It
Patty
ruined it for Patty
Jenkins.
Jenkins. Um, yeah, it just ruined it. But this is what now brings up the first thing we're gonna talk about, and you know, and because like I said, we know what we're getting now in Zack Snyder's Justice League, right? Um, and the characters we're now getting, um, even from like now the superhero aspect, we're getting Martian Manhunter. Um, there's also talks about another secret cameo of a hero making an appearance. I don't know who it is. I don't want to.
We're all hoping it's Green Lantern.
I think we're
That's
all
what we're
hoping.
all
I
hoping
think we're
for.
all hoping it's Green Lantern for sure. I think we could all safely say that. I know some people want
If
it to
it's
be
not Shazam,
Supergirl, and that's the thing. It could definitely even also be Shazam. I know people are like, well, Zach said,
he was a
it's.
fun Shazam. I thought I thought he was actually pretty good with the role. So
I think so too. I think people's issue is just the fact that, what's his name, Zachary Levi, ignorantly must have been listening to Jeff Johns at the time and said what he said about the Snyder Cut during that one interview he had. Um,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean? So it just left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, because it was like, bro, you don't even know what you're talking about. Why even mention your piece? You're better off if you didn't know what if you really didn't know because you only knew one side to it of what you were told, and that side, frankly, was the side that was lying. Um, and now you're here kind of looking like someone who's ignorant because it turns out the Snyder Cut was a real thing, and it turns out it's coming out now. So now you just now you're looking stupid because you tried to say that it didn't exist, when they asked you about it. So that's I think that's the issue with Shazam, with people's view on
Yeah.
Shazam. Unfortunately, because I
Yeah,
personally did like the movie. Like it. It was good for what it was. And the
yeah.
characters they
For
were
the
introducing.
budget that they had too.
Exactly, exactly. So, um, I always tell people my only issue ever with Shazam was that I just wish we had a little bit more Shazam. Towards the end,
Yeah,
just like
instead
a
of
more epic.
Billy.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted it to be more epic than what it really was. But it's okay. Like
It,
we're still
uh,
getting the other movies. Coming forward.
Yeah, we're getting Black Adam too, so
Oh,
at least
that
we
that
get
should
positive
be good.
things coming out.
But that's what.
Dwayne
Yeah,
Dwayne
Dwayne
the
the Rock
Rock
Johnson.
Johnson is gonna snap
That
with
dude
that
personally
guy,
was
That
born
bro.
for this role. He was born for
that's what
this
I'm
role.
hoping for that they do with the Snyder cut is that if they don't give us a cameo of a hero, maybe hopefully goes to cameo Dwayne the Rock Johnson in his suit. Like would be nice. Anybody can hope, anybody can dream.
I
It
I
would be nice
think
for me to see Black Adam clash with Superman for like just a even
you know
if it was
what
just a little like
this
5 minute
is.
scene.
We're already in the topic, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring up the slide of what we're talking about. What's
Man,
Yep.
canon? What's canon?
what's
Okay,
canon?
we're already talking about it, so let's just get into it, right? What is canon,
Well,
right?
I
So
feel like Batman vs Superman. Honestly, that has to be canon to the Justice League universe because I know that they said that the DCU pretty much or Warner Brothers try to say that the Snyder Cut literally isn't connected to anything else. But the problem is that it is though. Like it
Yeah,
connects to the Flash, so that's coming out.
it,
It connects to Batman vs Superman. It connects to Wonder Woman.
it like
Like
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. Like honestly, feel
Um,
like it is like honestly feel like it should be canon, even though Warner Brothers is trying to not make it canon, which is ridiculous in my opinion. Because like you have all these intertwined stories, you already have all these characters connected. You know, from past movies, it's but like Aquaman. Like in Aquaman, for example, they brought up the battle, the whole thing that how he met Batman and other stuff. They brought up the Justice League in Aquaman. Same with even with Wonder Woman, should I say, like Wonder Woman, like
Yeah,
it was some recent time. Same with that, they had a little cameo of like when she was in Justice League, Batman versus Superman. Even though they're trying to like the Warner Brothers are just making a mess out of this when it shouldn't be. Like the movie
like what?
should be canon. I don't care what Warner Brothers says. The movie Snyder Justice League, the Snyder Cut should be canon to everything else. Cause literally there
Yeah,
wouldn't be any other movie if it wasn't for Zack Snyder. He started it off with Man of Steel. You feel
that's
me?
that's the biggest
And
that's
like,
the
truth.
truth.
That's the
That's
biggest truth. Is that it all started with Zack Snyder. It all started with Man of Steel. If there was
and
no
can
Man
we?
of Steel, if there was no Batman versus Superman, there would be no rest of what we got now. Point blank period.
exactly,
Point blank
Honestly,
period.
it's
Like
like it
like
all connects.
if he would have never, because we got to think of this. Here's the reality. Okay, Man of Steel was the inception. BVS was the manifestation, and I say that because that's where we first, for the first time ever, see Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman in BVS,
Yep.
who now she is prominently Wonder Woman, rightfully so, right? Same thing with
First time saw Batflick.
Batfleck is Batman, and then we saw him, technically in Suicide Squad. People loved his performance there, even if it was just a minuscule part, but it was still relevant to the story that was being told. And then his character still also is part of Wonder Woman, the original film. Like, it's still tied to him finally giving the photo back, or not finally giving it back, but finding a way to give it back to Wonder Woman. So his character still also exists within these other movies. Then we got Jason Momoa as Arthur Curry, the Aquaman,
Yep.
and boom, it all starts. They're all their the inception of all their characters start in a world that Zack Snyder created. Point blank period. And without him creating this world, without him creating this story, even though it didn't go in the direction he wanted it to, which we'll get into that. But regardless, these characters only exist today, and the ones that are most popular right now, that have a success following them, are all because this man created them in his story arc, created them in a vision that he had for these characters. So, what's canon? It's definitely should be Zack Snyder's work,
Snyder Cut,
from Man
yeah.
of Steel to Batman vs Superman to
So
what we're
now,
getting now, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Um, I think, I've said it before, like, if they're kind of just afraid of the direction they were going because they were idiots and tried to tamper or did tamper, and were already trying to steer it in a direction that clearly, in all honesty, is tanking. Um, if they were trying to save face, if they were trying to save face, they would be like, okay, Aquaman technically can still tie in to this universe. Um, Shazam, if that's what they're worried about, is like now what they're doing with Shazam and with the Flash, whatever, blasey blasey. Shazam, and I've said this before, technically, let's just say he doesn't partake in this world. He technically can, because, like, if Zack Snyder want to be nice, right? And I say that because technically, like I said, Zack Levi did try to stun on this nigga. But
Yeah.
let's just say we all know Zach's a good guy. I think he would be forgiving if he went on to his. I think all he cares about is having full creative control over what he wants to do. But
Over
let's
his
just
vision.
Yeah, over his vision, exactly. So let's just say, he's
look,
forgiving enough. He forgives, Zachary Levi for what he said, but says, look, to find a little bit of solace in this whole mess and ordeal that Warner Brothers has created, he technically can bring him into the fold, because it's not like the movie Shazam was such a world breaking event. It was very contained within Philly.
Yeah,
You know,
very grounded.
so the discovery of the character technically can still come up. But let's just say that's not the route they want to go. I feel like that would be dope if they did do that. But let's just say it's not. They technically can bring him into the fold after the whole. I guess if we get the JL2 and 3 as well, or JL2 and JL2A, as what we now know to be actually what they were going to be called, I guess, right? Um, or at least it looks like JL2 was going to be a two-part movie. Um, but at least maybe he can come after. But I personally, I think would be cool if he did come in now. Seeing that technically we know it's going in a different direction from what it was originally intended. And then as far as Black Adam's concerned, I think he can be the villain that comes after Darkseid, and I think that would be perfectly fine. That's
That
just my
would be
opinion.
perfect.
it's just not just as powerful, but is definitely up there.
Yeah, he's up there. He's a team buster. We've seen him do it before in the comics, in the cartoons. Black
Had to
Adam
face he faced Superman and Shazam at the same
you know,
time.
at the same time.
What I'm hoping for, at least with Darkseid in this movie, what I'm hoping for at least that he's not a one-time villain. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I hope that
No,
they
yeah.
actually keep him in the universe and his presence. Because like he's such a big villain, and if for even the DCU just alone, like if they were just to just use him for this film, it would kind of be disappointing. Just at the fact that he is one of the main big bad guys, and the fact that he never actually like dies. Like
Mhm.
this guy has other versions of himself and different other like universes. Like he doesn't really ever die.
Right.
That's how I
And I
felt
just hope that
with.
they don't kill him off. Like I hope they show his presence and establish his presence and keep his presence in for a long time for the DCU.
That's
Yep.
that's how I
Yep.
felt with Doomsday. I really was not expecting Doomsday to come in so early like that, only because,
And to
well,
die so early too.
that's what I mean, really. But I guess I could accept it. I could only accept it for the fact that well, we know when Doomsday die, he comes back every time. There's no killing Doomsday, you know. So I guess
Yeah, there's no killing Doomsday.
that's why I could accept it, I guess. So like,
Right.
yes, you won. All right, cool, but you know the war's not over yet, you know.
Yeah,
But
for sure, for sure.
I just I just feel like they made it so epic that like, how are you gonna die next time? You know, like
Dark side.
how that right? You know, like that's like you know, like I could only. There's so much, you know, like
Well, it's funny what you're saying because, like, okay, here's the thing that um, I think we have to kind of remember, right, when it comes to Doomsday. And not to say that. So there's certain variables, right? But I'll definitely come back to the dark side thing too. But like, I definitely feel with the Doomsday. A lot of people were complaining because they're like, oh, Luther created him. That's not accurate. Like he's technically Kryptonian. Um, how do you say engineered, whatever, blah blah. But I feel like they don't know what they're saying, and I say that because, and this is what people have to remember. Like these movies, these movies were pulling from so much source material. It's not
Yep,
even funny. Like
a lot.
you can't even officially direct it towards one comic because it was pulling from so many different comics, but at
It
the
was
same time,
multiple.
also so many different cartoons. And I
mm-hmm.
say that
Yep,
because if you were a fan of the Justice League animated series, you would know that in that cartoon series, it was Argus who actually created Doomsday
So
from
yeah,
from
I
Superman's
remember.
own DNA.
Yep.
Okay, and that's how Doomsday was created in that universe. So it's not that far fetched that it was Lex Luthor who created Doomsday in this universe
Right.
using Kryptonian DNA, which was clearly General Zod. So that's one. Two, but yes, to your point, we know technically if they ever did want to bring him back, they could because we've seen him do it plenty of times before, right? Um,
Right.
Same as Dark Side. Like, there's really no getting rid of these guys. They just keep coming back fiercer and stronger than before, right? Um, but even let's just say there's also the variable. I don't know how true this is. I'm not, again, it's kind of hard to pinpoint because Zach in his interviews, I feel like to appease the studio, he's trying to disconnect his work from the rest of what exists because apparently I think that was part of the deal. Like your story isn't canon to what we're trying to build.
Right.
But if for anybody who actually watched the show Krypton, you would know that it was that show Krypton was technically, um, in a sense,
That
they
was
were trying to connect it to the Man of Steel or to technically the Snyderverse in a sense, you know, originally. Um, so in that show, they had the Doomsday that um, the Kryptonians created,
hmm
which makes sense because at the same time, when you do go back to BVS, the only reason Lex knew how to create a Doomsday was because there was already knowledge on the Kryptonian ship given to him about
yep.
how the Kryptonians created a Doomsday. Okay, so that technically falls in line. So technically, the Doomsday we got might not even be the actual Doomsday that we know is as fierce as it could be. This Doomsday was technically, if you think about it, was half Kryptonian, half human, because it was by the blood of
Reflex.
Lex that it was given life. So, if you think about that, it wasn't just straight Kryptonian DNA, and I think the reason that was because the science behind it technically, when even like from the Doomsday that we see in the Justice League animated series, the reason why that one's still fierce is because the DNA that was used was living DNA from a living Kryptonian. This Kryptonian was a dead Kryptonian, so so its cells were dormant, you know. Hence why it needed the help of living DNA that came from Luther. So technically, I don't think this Doomsday was the most lethal Doomsday I guess we could have seen. Even though technically when we saw him, it was like, damn, this is Doomsday because he like there was just no killing him, right? Like, until he got stabbed with the Kryptonian spear, or the Kryptonite spear. But same thing with Darkseid. Like, I think this character definitely has the potential of always coming back. You know, even if they defeat him, he could always just retreat again. But who knows? Like, we don't know where it's going technically or how it's going to happen. What we do know is where it was going initially in the beginning. What Zack Snyder, Chris Terrio, and Jim Lee had in mind for it at first, right? And here we are, the old Jl2 storyboards that were shown on the internet, all online, and technically, for anyone who actually wants to see it, can technically still go to Dallas, to the AT&T, I guess, headquarters that they have over there, and they got like a whole museum for like the Snyder Cut, the Snyderverse related stuff, and part of that is these Jl2 storyboards that, man, oh man, what we would have gotten, what we could have gotten if Warner Brothers wasn't so stupid.
At least
if at least if certain executives weren't so stupid,
right.
if certain people weren't greedy, Jeff Johns.
I think I got something.
These guys, they ruined something that could have been so epic, but instead they said no, and then they go ahead and sell off their ideas to other companies to do what they were too afraid to do. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look for the Jl2 storyboards. I'm sure they're online somewhere. I probably actually could share them here. I just don't
almost
know how.
wonder if they ever went to any other like executives and decide to like show off the old storyboards and see like just the reaction that they'd get, just to see how good it was, and realize like maybe they did get like oh, this is genius, and out of like just like them, like obviously they can't steal someone else's work, but out of like you said, greed and maybe even jealousy, who knows, it's stupidity for sure.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
my biggest theory for sure is, and I say theory just because, like, well, technically it hasn't been, I guess, solidified.
It's not
But
going to be, not yet,
yeah, no, yeah,
it's not. I
might
mean, maybe
come
not.
out pretty soon, and I think this movie is going to reveal a lot, and I think that's why Warner Brothers is trying hard to like not have it succeed.
Not have it
It's
succeed.
going to have a lot of heads on the chopping block if this movie does succeed, because it's going to question their judgment in what they did, and if their judgment is what they want going forward.
They're gonna go after Joss Whedon's head too.
oh, if his head's already not gone, because I feel like his name is actually the one that's been going through the ringer the most out of all of them.
Yeah,
Between, like,
he's
Jeff
getting
Johns, and
dragged,
he's getting
boy.
dragged right now, and not even just by Justice League cast members, but even by Buffy cast members.
Yep,
That are
because
coming out and
they're
sharing stuff,
exposing him.
exposing them, dude. So you know, um, but I personally think, when you look at what happened, I definitely feel Jeff Johns was the snake all along. He's
Yep.
he's buddy with Kevin Feige and them, and that's
The
why
fact
they
that they
even
even let him write three Jokers is just disrespect.
is definitely
This was
disrespect. As much as
this.
and here's the thing, like, Jeff Johns can give you good comics. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think, apart from his character that I think is trash because of just how he went about handling his greed and wanting to be the, pretty much the Kevin Feige of the DC extended universe. Um, I think comic wise, he can do a comic, But just because you can do comics does not mean you can make a film. I'm sorry.
Right.
It's not.
Exactly.
They're
There's a
two different
big
beasts.
difference between comic books and a film, bro.
Exactly. So yeah, I think it was a joke that they thought he can put movies together. Um,
I
you know,
mean,
but
can we
yeah,
talk about the? I mean, I'll be honest. He made he was I know I believe he was writer of the Flash. No, so like
yeah.
I
No,
mean
look, that's what I'm saying. Like
that's yeah. Like I can't talk about his like you
his New
said
52 work was just great. Even some of his
No,
rebirth
yeah.
stuff I liked.
Rebirth. I
So
know I really love
His
um,
comic books are
Rebirth.
and
I love
good.
Rebirth.
and then even the Three Jokers. From what I hear, it's actually
But
really good comics.
but I just
Yeah,
find
three.
it
It
funny.
is.
Like you wouldn't think to yourself like taking that right, like using it as a helping Zack Snyder. But I
Well, here's the thing. Like I said, he wanted to rise among the ranks. And I think, and here's what I'm actually even starting to put together myself personally is I think he even ran with a few of Zack Snyder's ideas when it came to his own comics, and I say that because coincidentally, uh, during the whole debacle of you know Zack's work with BVS and whether or not he could, how well he was into the Justice League, whatever, blasey blasey, we were getting the DC rebirth at the same time, and
mm,
how funny is that he had this idea to bring in the Watchmen universe after Zack had already did the Watchmen movie. You know, making those characters even popular again was because of Zack Snyder and his movie. But then here it goes. They
He did
do
a
the
phenomenal job with that movie too.
phenomenal. So here we go. He does or all of a sudden Rebirth is introducing the Watchmen universe. Doctor Manhattan apparently being behind the whole Rebirth ordeal. With the Doomsday Clock. Um,
Doomsday
Yep.
Clock, right?
but what if that
Tuesday
was
Clock was
one of Zach's
crazy.
ideas? What if Zach had the idea of like, what if that was his idea all along? Like, what if he had that conversation at one point saying, it would be really crazy, guys, if this universe that I'm building right now with DC and I merge it with that Watchmen universe I built a few years ago. That's never been done before. You know.
Could make sense. I mean, he did direct
I think
Watchmen and
I
I
think he
mean,
should.
Justice League. So I mean, like, I feel like it was more like they stole. They might like if it was his idea, I feel like they most likely stole it from him. Cause
So
oh, for
like
sure,
I
for
guess I
sure.
have to agree with Mike, and my opinion is you should just stick to what you're good at.
Yeah, that's
uh
just
yeah,
what it is. Stick to what you're good at.
like really like George Lucas didn't sell his Lucasfilm until he was done with whatever he wanted to be done with, and he wanted to
yeah.
Which
take
I'm
care.
still sad about. I'm still sad about that. I
I
ain't gonna
am,
lie.
I am.
Because
I
I
mean, because
honestly, I
Disney,
do not like the direction they're going with Star Wars right now.
Yeah,
Not
Disney
everything.
is killing Star Wars.
They
it's
really
okay.
are. They
I
really are.
look, man, you gotta respect the
Mandalorian's the only
man.
good thing about Star Wars right now.
Mandalorian is the only good thing right now about Star Wars. So shout out to John Favreau. I will not give kudos to Filoni. I'm sorry. I do not see eye to eye with that guy.
I feel like
Um,
it was all Favreau, bro. Favreau's a
I feel is all Favreau.
genius.
He is a genius. I personally, I feel personally, in my opinion, he was the genius even behind the MCU. As much as they give Kevin Feige praise, I actually liked Favreau's take on his stuff more so than I liked the things that Kevin Feige was trying to do as an entire whole with that universe. Especially now that I know a lot of your ideas were actually given to you from Jeff Johns, per what Zach wanted to do with DC content.
Yep.
so, so I'm not even that impressed anymore. But and argue it all you want, but to me, you look at the facts. You look at what was already being written, um, and then you look at what we got with the MCU. The truth of the matter is, bro, is when Zach came on the scene and shook the comic book film cliche, you know. And I think the truth of the matter is there was something to fear there. You
Yeah,
know,
you
Yeah.
know,
I'm gonna say this because when Zach came out with his thing with BVS was really what changed it all. Man of
yeah.
Steel,
Well,
nobody still knew what he was going to do. Like, okay, Man of Steel, all right, it took the same route as Dark Knight trilogy. It's grounded. It's more realistic. It's built in the
but
real
don't.
world that exists.
With
No,
Man of
go ahead.
Steel though, with one thing though that I would say that they changed the game a lot with when it comes to superhero movies is making the good guy like Superman, inexperienced. You feel me? Like the whole city was being destroyed throughout this whole battle. Like
Yes,
that's what I
yes,
like how he changed it because every other hero, like example MCU, you see the hero in the first movie, like automatically they're experienced at something. You feel me? Like they gain some power and they experience, and then like they're experienced with it already.
hmm.
Like they have no real risks. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Well,
yeah, no,
except for lately when they started adding it. Unlike DCU with Man of Steel, he put real risk in there. Like the whole city was being destroyed while Superman
yes.
was trying to invade this, which I feel like Zack Snyder completely changed the game with
Well,
just
and
that movie alone.
very true. But that's why I said BVS because I feel like you don't see the entire
You don't think
consequence
about that. You don't think
of
about that.
Metropolis till we get
Be-
to
Yeah,
BVS, and
Yeah,
that
definitely.
being
because really, like
the
in the
first scene.
comics, isn't the same thing. In the comics, really, like, or I'm sorry, not the comics, the cartoons. City
Right.
gets destroyed. You really don't think about the city until like
Yeah, like
until it.
I was just watching the Justice League
Until
animated
Batman
series,
vs Superman,
and
which Batman vs Superman actually showed like they actually showed like kind of like the risk
you know what's
behind
funny though
that. You get
is
what I'm saying?
you can tell that there was meddling there too though because
Have you guys seen the
but not
meme?
really. Matter of fact, oh man, actually, you know what? Now that I actually think about it,
Have
so
you guys
somebody
seen?
tried to make a point that, like, you could tell that the studio must have complained about that because when you look at the final battle
Uh-huh.
in BVS, they take it to a abandoned area where nobody's at.
Yeah,
But but that can also be Zach saying it's the experience of Bruce Wayne that knew to do that because it was Bruce Wayne that led Darkseid or Darkseid, I mean Doomsday to that side. He's like, I got to take it
Yeah.
back to the
yep,
kryptonite, back whatever. But that's also where he had Superman go. So it wasn't necessarily about taking Doomsday there. Is that he had already decided to fight Superman over there, and you can imagine probably because of the same thing, the experience of Bruce Wayne knew I'm not trying to fight this Kryptonian in an area where there's actually innocents that can be casualty harmed. Seeing that the reason I'm trying to kill this guy is because I'm upset at all the casualties that were harmed during the Battle of Metropolis. And
yep,
then, so when it came to the Doomsday Factor, same thing. I got to take him back to the Kryptonite, you know, to the Spear. But again, it's the experience of Bruce Wayne to why that's actually why it was in a secluded area, non-populated, to make sure no innocents were going to be casualties of that battle. Um, Compared to Man of Steel, like you said, Et, we're looking at a Superman who just became Superman. You know, so he's still trying. He doesn't know how to go about this thing. He's just fighting these guys off, you know, the best he can, um,
The way
without
he thinks
really,
he can,
yeah, the best way he thinks he can, without really knowing how to gauge it because this is his first time actually fighting bad guys of that magnitude.
yep.
You know what I mean?
Did you
Um,
guys see the meme of where like it says when you're paying for your brand new car and Superman grabs he grabs it to smash the villain?
I didn't see that move. That's hilarious
Hilarious.
when you think about it.
Like like people in the internet are savages, man. Like they just have like random guys like no, like type of faces, and it's
Right,
like
right.
it says Superman grabbing your vehicle and you're still making payments on it.
like like in that universe, I hope there's like insurance coverage for those things. You know, like
Right,
does that
right,
fall
Dude,
under act of God? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
bro, imagine all the like insurance coverage for the whole metropolis, bro. Like,
yeah, right, exactly.
like
Again, that's what I'm
Geico
saying.
must have had a long day.
Hey, so
Luckily, in those universes, you got guys like Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor that are just
billionaires.
buku billionaires that can donate.
Billionaires,
Yeah,
like they're the city's insurance.
billion. Yeah, they
Hey,
are. They really are,
right,
dude.
really are. So
That's a
They're like,
funny
you don't
thing.
need no
honestly,
Geico, you need LexCorp
You
and
need-
and Wayne Industry.
I'm sure they have
Wayne Industry.
insurances themselves, man. I'm pretty sure there's a Bruce Wayne insurance that exists. That guy's got
No
his pockets
bullshit.
in everything, man. There's Wayne Industries. They're in everything. There's Wayne Financial, Wayne Medicine, Wayne. You know what I'm saying? Like
The
Wayne.
insurance the city has is
Wayne.
Batman, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Wayne Insurance. You know what I'm saying? Like what?
No Batman insurance. Get it
The
right.
best coverage you can have. You know what I mean?
hey,
Oh
right.
The
You
Dark
man.
gotta
Knight
wonder where. Hey,
insurance.
yeah, you really do gotta wonder where this man keeps grabbing or getting his satellites from, right? Like,
Oh.
hey, this guy's more insured than the military. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I feel bad for like our military branch in that universe. You know what I'm saying? We're so like oblivious to like
So
who are the
puny.
Well, the
so
funny thing
puny
is they rely on Wayne Technologies
way technologies, yeah,
to give them
to
new
support
stuff.
them like
Yeah,
weapons and stuff. Hey,
support
no,
their
They
efforts.
rely
actually,
on white technologies and on aliens to fight their battles.
going back to that JL2 storyboards,
Yo,
bro,
yeah, let's get
the
back to the
old one.
Jl2
Like, my fault. Yeah, no, real
No, we're
talk.
good.
Uh, what I do gotta say is reading. I just read it today for whoever's gonna be watching this. I just read that today, and my El Divino actually sent it to me, and wow, was I disappointed in reading something that won't come, and it's almost like I kind of want myself, what I'm saying? I wish I had the finances and the crew and so just to make that come true, man, because that was, you know what? And to put it this way, I was one of those guys that was like, it has to be accurate. Like it cannot steer away from the comics. It can't steer away from the cartoons. Like it's like pessimist. Like that's you can't do that. Like it has to be doctrine. Like it has to be the actual thing.
Right.
But
Hey, hold on.
you know,
Keep chopping it up. I'm gonna do something right quick, but keep chopping it up. I'm not stopping anything. Go ahead.
um, but like Davino was saying, like like as I mean, I guess I would have to say as time progresses or as time goes, like having to hear other people's ideas on how comics could get better. That's when I started opening up to new realities, new worlds, because how can you have a multiverse with just one idea or one vision? Like you gotta kind of have other people's mindsets, like on how they would think uh, things could pan out, from like I said, from Man of Steel to BVS, because one of those things is like we don't realize how much city damage is going on, and BVS is the one who kind of like wakes us up from that, and we're like thinking like, holy cow, like that is true, like these guys mess up the whole city, and we're here. But that's something that Zack Snyder was able to think about and really put into motion and put into a vision and make it happen. But for sure, having to see those storyboards, that was definitely gonna take a twist on. I mean, everything that we're watching it's definitely a twist from from the BVS to now to the Justice League. Um, where like there's nothing. We're not. Well, I mean, what I'm saying or what I was hearing is we're not getting nothing from that. Well, which kind of stinks because I wish we could have,
Right.
because that definitely is. I mean, it's definitely basically is what I'm saying. It's just another cool ass comic book, but obviously cinematic, cinematic version of it. That's and that's how I kind of seen it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you every comic, it changes, it evolves. Um, and this is basically what happened with Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder was able to do that, evolve it into something else, into his own uh, story arc, where everybody, still had its original um, beginning, their origins, but then it kind of pans out to something different. So like it almost seems like he had something else for us, something, but it's something else. But like what you said, like it was like uh, 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 a mixture of everything, like something
Yeah.
that like
Yeah.
again, I'm not thinking about. Again, it was one of those things. It was like, no, like this is part of this. How are you gonna add it to this? But like, you can't say that can't be together. Like, it could always come together. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Even
I.
the cartoons have shown us that. Like,
Mhm.
that's why I had to open my mind, like really, because even yeah, just evolving with the times. It was just perfect for him to come out with something like that. Honestly, like you said, there was definitely greed in there, jealousy. I
Oh,
don't, man.
no,
The
no doubt.
storyboards, like, man. I mean, spoiler alert. I mean, I don't know if it's a spoiler, might not be, whatever. If you haven't read it, read it. Like, you'll be maybe just as disappointed. Um, but you know, from having the Riddler, which is actually one of my favorite villains. I love the and I think Batman's villains are the ones that are the most attracting to the fans, I should say.
Right.
'Cause even though I'm a Flash fan, and Flash faces Snart and Gorilla Grodd, and like those, yeah, those great, they're great enemies, villains. But then you kind of think about the Riddler, the Joker, uh, Mr. Freeze, and all the, like, it just, I mean, and actually that Mr. Freeze is like even just more of a, like, that's more intensified. Like with Batman, you could just tell, like, they're more like actual humans, like,
Mhm.
where that you see the psychoticness in people, I guess, uh Victor Zaz, those, but like, when I thought that was awesome when they brought him out in Gotham. Gotham brought so many villains out that
No, yeah, that was dope. I did like. I like. There was. Oh, shoot.
oh, whoa,
Um.
you okay? You okay
Yes.
over there?
Yeah. No, this.
But but yeah,
Yeah,
well,
a little loose, a little looser
with
than I thought. I guess
being
I can't sit on there. Okay.
uh, so yeah, being that it almost sucks because, like, Jim Carrey did an awesome Riddler. Like, I thought he was awesome with it. I thought he was I thought he did his version of Riddler, which was cool, to see it
So,
that way.
so wait, are you touching on the villains that we were supposed to get?
Well, I was talking about the storyboard, then I was just talking about how it is disappointing that we couldn't really get that
Mm.
vision, and especially, like, I was saying that I'm the person that I love things being 100% accurate, like,
Mm.
but I wasn't realizing that everything is still accurate. It was just all a mashup,
Right.
uh,
Right.
Yeah, like
but in its own world, so
Right.
it's kind of like you love Wally West, but Barry Allen still exists, so
Yeah. Yeah.
like, so I love the fact that they brought, Batman with his super souped up gear, the super, what's the suit called? Sorry.
Which one? Which film?
BVS.
Oh, the armored suit,
Yeah, the armored suit, but it wasn't it called something? Isn't it
the
called
mech suit, the mech suit.
Mex? Yeah, exactly. I don't remember it called that, but yeah. So like having the mech suit being in BVS, knowing that it's from
The Dark Knight,
the Dark.
Frank Miller's Dark Knight.
Exactly. Like
Yep.
you have to think to yourself, like, damn, Batman. You're like, okay, like
I mean,
he's
even the
human.
fight was part of the Dark Knight,
Oh
Frank
yeah,
Miller's Dark Knight.
Oh no,
yeah.
definitely
The whole Batman versus Superman thing. Yep.
because it's just like
It's a big comic
comics.
book page.
Comics is
Hell yeah.
definitely one of those things is where you get to like expand your mind on like so many possibilities basically. But like
Yep.
Snyder definitely just grabbed all those possibilities that can be real possibilities and made it just more realistic to the to the viewing, where we could actually see Batman facing Superman rather than having Superman in his own like latex suit and Superman's gonna punch him and break his break his body. Like,
Guns
you
are
know,
broken.
So that is, I mean, that's just one example, obviously, but so yeah, I was just going upon that, like on the fact that it's just a vision that was definitely lost. Hopefully not, hopefully it
Yeah.
definitely, hopefully they kind of still work with it, man. Hopefully
Yeah, I
like
think
hopefully like they
look.
really
Here's the thing. Like,
they
I know
just
for sure he's got more. Like this, what the storyboards we saw are are just an original idea that was the original idea that him, Chris Terrio, and Jim Lee came forward, to give to Warner Brothers to greenlight. Unfortunately, they were just
because
too stupid to greenlight it. But after that, they went back and obviously had to rewrite everything, along with the film we're now getting as Zack Snyder's Justice League. And he said that there's even more storyboards that different storyboards that continue the story we're watching now. So
and it's so realistic that those story like really when you storyboards you really see the more like realistic how much
let's
more realistic it could have been because
let's
really
let's
like
go ahead. Let's go ahead and break it down a bit, like without actually having to read the whole thing.
I
But like, let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and point out some things that I feel were like,
oh
whoa,
can
you
I
know.
okay
Well,
Okay, go
point
ahead.
out
No, go ahead.
one thing so like
Yeah,
one for me, like I thought okay for those who are gonna read it you're gonna see what I'm talking about especially when Lex Luthor brings the team together you know
the
he
Legion.
knows he knows that well we okay at least we know that they have the mother boxes they brought together and they were trying to take or us humans let's say right we should say us humans are trying to take that anti-life equation even the Riddler being that Riddler's like you could say he's one of the smartest guys being that Batman or Riddler has to be up there being the Riddler um so even having him being a part of that like little scene of trying to figure it out, I thought it was really genius. Like, wow, you know what? Like, that's one of my favorite villains. He would be one of the villains to be with Lex Luthor and trying to figure out the anti-life equation, or as soon as you see what happens after or what the result is, it's like, wow, it makes sense.
What you know?
So
What's even crazier about that is that you have to think about the Luther we got in BVS, right? Um, he's very
oh,
manipulative. He's very manipulative. You
yeah,
know, he
yeah.
pretty much manipulated Batman and Superman to face each other.
right.
And then to the point that casualties mean nothing to him. Like, he sacrificed his own assistant in the
Yeah,
courthouse. You know what I'm
this
saying? So like,
definitely
allegiances mean nothing to this guy.
nothing.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You're just a
I,
means to an end.
um,
So
I already
when
know
you
what you're saying
you
without
know what
even
I'm saying?
saying
So
it.
when you really think
Yeah.
about it, like, and this is what I mean, like when I say Zach incorporates certain concepts from all over the place, right? Because, and first, let me just say this: I just like to admit I was right. I was right. I predicted at one point that we were supposed to get the Legion of Doom. Um, and seeing these storyboards, I'm just happy to know that I was actually right. but
Like I
but
was.
it's sad that we might not get it
Yeah.
again. But or we might not get it. But I was right about that one. But two, it's the way he had. I'm pretty sure he was gonna have Lex do it, and even from like reading kind of the conversation that he has with like certain people, you can tell that they were just a means to an end for him. Um, so I'm pretty sure he was manipulating all these guys too. And again, so we were gonna get a version of the Legion of Doom, but not the actual Legion of Doom. But even that in its own right is accurate because when you look at the comics, or let's just say the one source material, a lot of people are like don't acknowledge that he was using, and I feel like it's kind of overlooked. Is that some of it was from the JL animated series, you
Yeah.
know, and you know that because there was a conversation or an interview with Ray Fisher one time where he mentioned that when discussing the story arcs for certain characters, and but mostly his whatever, one of their discussions that he had was their love for the Justice League animated series. They had extensive conversations about that cartoon series and how how dope it was. Growing up, or not even just growing up, but like just watching them. Being fans of of these characters, right? So it was when I came across that information where I thought to myself, now it actually makes more sense. Why? Uh, you know, I felt like a lot of it was touching to that series, Doomsday thing being one of those things. Um, but the other thing that also is relevant to the show, or to that show, is that again, Luther doesn't play nice with others. He uses people. Even in the cartoon series, he
Yeah.
used people. Even when he
Everyone.
created the
Uh,
first secret society that he put together to take down the league,
even then, it's
he was using them.
uh, uh, uh when he created the gee when he created oh my gosh now I'm like really blank right now, guys. Yeah, by the way, it's 4 to 5 o'clock over here in Florida in the morning, so I'm doing my best,
Right, right.
especially on medication. I don't know, for those
You
who
can
don't
tell it's
know.
almost
Yeah, for those who don't know, I took out 6 of my teeth, so I'm battling. I'm doing my best here. I got a doomsday in my mouth right now, man. But can't take it no more. No, no, for real though. Like, yeah, I agree. Luthor, even from the comics, was always using people, and even from creating that robot that was supposed to attack or defeat the Amazo. There you go.
oh,
Holy cow!
Amazo,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
couldn't think of
Amazo.
his name for some reason. Even Amazo, and that's why I made to tell him like, you were using me, but why else did you create me? What's my purpose in life? Like,
Right.
he tried to tell him
Oh,
like, and had to tell him like
even in that cartoon, same thing with Mercy. I think is her name, right?
Mercy,
The
yeah,
assistant. He
assistant,
he
yeah.
he was just like she was just a tool to him. You know what I'm saying? Every person is a means to an end for his own gain. Even when you get to like the season finale of season 2 of Unlimited, when he's finally in charge of the Legion of Doom, and he. But
Oh yeah,
this is what I'm gonna get at is even that, you know in the cartoon, it's not that he's searching the anti-life equation. He's actually in search of pieces of Brainiac because he's trying to
Brainiac.
become a god. But when you
God, right.
put that in retrospective to what he was attempting to do in this story arc, same thing. He's after the anti-life equation to elevate who he is, to get more power out of greed, and he was using everybody else to get it. And then just like the comics, or just like the cartoon, when he thinks he finally finds Brainiac, who does he find? He
Star
finds
side.
Darkseid.
Yeah. Yep. He
What
found
happens in the storyboards? Darkseid appears and
Cheers.
takes the anti-life equation for himself, which is the same thing that happens in the JL animated series. So this is what I mean, like, when I say it isn't it isn't exactly like the source material, but it's inspired by the source material and
Right.
from many different source materials. That's just definitely one of the source materials. You can tell he was grabbing from. Um, Now, you know, with that being said, you know,
Bro,
uh,
the Green Lantern Corps, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's so many
and
factors to this
so
movie
many
that,
factors.
like, and the thing is, it's crazy because, like, there's times in I think it was in the Justice League that we really thought that the Green Lantern Corps was gonna be a part of it. Like, I
We
believe it was
did,
when
we did.
I think it was the first one where we really thought that the Justice League, the Green Lantern Corps was gonna be introduced in the second, you know.
hmm
But
who's to say that they don't make an appearance in this one? You know what I'm
and
saying?
this
Like,
one, right?
I think it can, because remember, there's always there is that secret cameo that they talked about.
I, I
Um,
know, I know, but I mean that's why I feel like they have to choose wisely on what they're gonna bring
for
because
sure.
honestly, if there's anybody that's intertwined with the Green Lantern Corps, so we know it's Jeff, Jeff Jones, so we gotta, so we don't know if we want to use his
If
cameo.
No, yeah, no. I think if they did go with the Green Lantern, it's not going to be anything related to the Green Lantern core project that Jeff Johns might still be doing for HBO Max, which I really hope
Yeah,
not at this point. I hope they wisen up and realize like this is not a guy you want taking care
you
or,
could,
or but if they
yeah,
do, they do. And again, that's why I think personally why Zach is trying to disconnect himself from the rest of the
Well,
stuff that's going on because
wait, question. Isn't Joss Whedon the one that's also supposed to be working on the Green Lantern Corps series?
well, he's already been like how do you say
guys, excuse me,
what's
I gotta use the washroom real quick. I'll be back.
yeah, no, cool. Do you think what was I saying? Yeah, I think Josh Whedon officially just not officially said yet, but I think that guy's been excommunicado from
Yeah,
any.
cause I know he's doing Batgirl
What he was supposed to do, but
too.
like
So
what nothing's really
supposedly,
been said
but
about that. The one, but see, the reason I say what I'm saying is because he was supposed to work on the project that is coming recently or most recently on HBO Max, and I think it was called The Nevers or something like that. And
yeah,
that came out saying that officially he's not working on that project anymore. So if he's not working on the most recent projects that he was supposed to work on, I can't imagine they're giving him any other projects to work on, especially with everything that's kind of coming out into the light uh, concerning him. Um,
yeah.
but
I mean, with on the subject of the Green Lantern Corps and the secret cameo,
yeah,
um, I personally wouldn't mind having Ryan Reynolds back as Hal Jordan,
okay,
even
okay.
if it would be cool as a cool cameo
I
to
think
like
it would
even
too.
have him. You feel me?
Yeah, no, I
But
think
at
it
the
would be
same
cool.
time, I would I would prefer that instead of Hal Jordan, for them to do a cameo with
John Stewart,
man, what's his name? Yeah, John Stewart.
hell yeah,
That would be
hell yeah.
100% a lot more better of a cameo than Hal Jordan, in my opinion.
I'm really hoping they do that, man. I'm really hoping it's the guy Omari, what's his name? I forget his name. All I know is he's in the new Army of the Dead movie with Zack Snyder,
Yeah,
or with Dave Bautista. I mean, but and I don't know if I told you this before, but there has been talks about interviews that he was. There was an interview he was in that he was saying how like that was like a joke. There was a joke going around on set, that between him, Amari, between him and Dave and Batista and Zach, that Dave kept insinuating that Amari play this character, and when Amari describes the character, he's describing the character of John Stewart because he said it's a character with military background, and that's John Stewart's origin. He's a Marine, you know,
yeah,
and then he gets chosen by the ring, whatever. But so if there's any character that I think that's why I personally do believe that it actually might be him personally, in my opinion, because when we're talking about when we were talking about earlier with the additional photography, I just don't see why not. Like, especially if knowing Zach said this before. He said this before in an interview that when you're shooting for one movie, uh, it's like taking a gun with a magazine and emptying out the whole clip. You know, so what he was saying, referring to, was that when I'm shooting on set for one movie, if I have time for it, and if there's, I'm gonna shoot for many more. So that was even the thing with Zach with the Justice League, is that he was already filming Justice League shots, and even some from this old storyboard when he was filming BVS, and he was doing the
Oh,
same thing when he was shooting Justice League. He was already shooting shots for Justice League 2 because that's the way he films. So,
on the
no, go ahead.
on the subject, honestly, of the storyboard, the one thing that really interested me when I did read the storyboard was
Mm,
how Batman was supposed to sacrifice himself to save the League.
yes, yes.
That was definitely way different than like it was the opposite.
I mean, dude, that
The
story was
complete
just so
opposite of what we got.
intense.
Uh,
That story was
Even
so
at that, the
intense,
whole
man.
Lois Lane and Bruce
Lois
thing,
Lane. Oh
Bro,
my
for
gosh, tell me
real.
that about it.
I
Like,
can imagine that was probably the hard. I feel like when they said no to this, I feel it was between that and Lois Lane dying. I feel like that's what they
yep.
had the most issue with, because it's like, whoa, yeah, that's kind of, I don't think that's,
And I
gonna
think
be.
also with Bruce dying might have been another problem
Yeah,
too.
because there were so many heroes dying. Bruce, technically the whole
the
Wonder Woman died.
cyborg being
Cyborg
exploded,
gets blown up in half.
Yep.
Uh, Aquaman dies. You know what I'm saying? So
Aquaman, and
they're probably
Mira
like, we want to
gets.
kill off the, the whole league. So that's probably why they're like, oh, what do you mean Superman succumbs to the anti-life equation? Which is just kind of stupid though, because I'm like, you guys act like these things haven't happened before within the comics itself. Like, in the comics itself, there is a certain portion where there was like a thing between, a little flirtation between Bruce Wayne and Lois Lane. Now, granted, I don't think it was ever fully like
Who doesn't?
explored,
Who doesn't
with
flirt with Bruce Wayne?
right, right,
Who
right.
doesn't fall in
Who
love with
doesn't Bruce
Batman?
Wayne get with, man? You just got to be okay with that stuff, man. It's Bruce Wayne. I
And I
mean,
think
heck, even looking at the storyboards, it looks like
I think
Superman
that's
is even cool with
probably
it.
what Zack Snyder was trying to pull off because really, like,
Wait.
I think this is gonna be one of those things. Is gonna or it was gonna be like the comic book fans would have seen this and they would have been like, another one, you know?
Right, right, right.
Lois
Exactly.
was pregnant too, no? In the storyboard,
Yeah,
it said that Lois was
yeah,
Yeah,
pregnant.
nigga. Like,
yeah, saying that it
Lois
wasn't
Lane
even
was
Batman.
pregnant.
So whose was it?
No, well, see, you didn't get that far into the storyboards. I really didn't want to spoil it for you, but we're talking about
Ah,
it. The reality is it was Bruce Wayne's son in there, and it was a
Yep.
check
son.
it out!
And the way
Wow.
part two ends, the epilogue of part two was going to end 20 years later, where he's already grown up. And I forgot who. I think it was Selena Kyle or Diana. One of the two asked Lois Lane, like, "Are you going to tell him who his father is?" And she eventually brings him to the Batcave and tells him that Batman Bruce Wayne was his father, is actually his father.
Father.
But
Damn.
but the crazy part is, even with all that still being the truth, Superman in that reality, when Bruce Wayne does eventually die, because okay, do you guys remember that one Snyder Con where Zack Snyder says that we had this crazy idea, right? And he actually talked about how Lois Lane dies, right? And that he says that then there's this part where uh, Bruce Wayne tells they were going to deal with the whole time travel thing, and how um, pretty much what ends up happening is there's this all-out battle between which all coincides with the nightmare scene we saw in BVS. So what was supposed to happen was, as we saw, Aquaman is dead in that reality. Wonder Woman's dead in that reality. The only survivors are Batman, Cyborg, and the Flash. Okay, but now what happens is uh, pretty much Superman killed Batman, as we saw, right? Because he says she was my world and you took her from me, right? Now we know what that means. It was about the affair Bruce Wayne had with Lois Lane. It wasn't just about him not being able to protect her, although that is a part. We when we read the storyboards, we see that Bruce Wayne didn't act in time. He was too in shock not to know what to do in that moment.
Right, with
When
that
Darkseid appeared,
beard, right.
because what can he do? You know what I'm saying? He's just a man,
Right.
right?
At that
So
point, I'm
and
pretty sure he's just trying to figure out what to.
right, exactly. But he didn't know what to do for the first time. He had no answer, and Darkseid kills Lois Lane, right? But so now we know though the extent of the meaning when Superman in Batman vs Superman says, "She was my world, and you took her from me," you know, and he kills him, and then we see that eventually, um, oh, mind you, uh, uh, in that reality, Green Lantern was actually part of that reality because we saw like part because all this that I'm mentioning actually was supposed to happen in part two. The whole us seeing the fruition of why we saw Superman kill Batman in the nightmare sequence in Batman versus Superman, and it was going to bring full circle the Flash traveling back in time to warn Bruce Wayne. Hold on, right? So, so we were going to see that. Um, the whole point is when Flash goes back, when Flash go, oh, because mind you, also this is also the difference. The difference also is that um, uh, in that reality, we saw already in part one that Bruce Wayne didn't think that was his son in Lois Lane. Okay,
Right, right. That's why
now
I didn't.
so
I didn't read it.
right, so but remember you did read up to the part that said where Lois Lane told Batman it's not
That,
yours. So
right.
Batman was under the impression this whole time it wasn't his
It
son
wasn't his. Right.
or his child for that matter.
Right.
Now, um, what we see though is that when Barry Allen goes back and says she's the key, right? You've always been right about him. There was more to that conversation where he actually tells him that Lois Lane it is your child, it is your son. It's your kid, whatever, blah blah, and you have to because that was also part of the difference the next time around because what happened was is there was because of the affair of Bruce Wayne and Lois Lane and even the Superman coming back and kind of not feeling like he's Clark anymore and he's just Superman. There was just so much going on. It divided the team, which had them unprepared for the the Legion of Doom and Lex Luthor's major plot. But when uh, Flash goes back in time to rewrite that story arc, whatever, or that's I guess what happens is that now Bruce Wayne is aware that it actually is his son, and now they are aware that Lex Luthor is trying to build a team. Because remember when we were reading part one, it's all about Lois Lane and Bruce Wayne on their own, kind of trying to figure out what is Lex Luthor up to. They were still trying to figure it out. They had no clue. When Flash goes back, now they know. Now they know all the cards that are stacked up against them. So Bruce Wayne eventually has that same conversation with Lois Lane in the cave, but this time he knows it's his son. So this time, when Darkseid goes to kill Lois Lane, he actually breaks through the glass that we saw that he was looking through at the first time. He breaks
Right.
through it and gets shot himself by the Omega beams. And but this is what is so dope about this
It's crazy
Batman.
because we know that he had debated it before, you know. Well, being
This is no right, but in this time it was about having to take the hit for
right,
Lois, to save Lois Lane.
right.
But even in taking the hit, nigga, it doesn't even kill him then. He's still alive. He actually survives the Omega beams. He survives the Omega beams, bro. But what happens is
He's a real
the
superhero.
Omega beams, right? The Omega beams, I guess for some, or what it is kind of like how we saw that Darkseid was able to take control of Superman.
Super. Okay.
Yeah. What it is that
Oh yeah, that's right. He does.
it contaminates Bruce Wayne I guess there's something in the omega beams that have the anti-life equation in them or something that when it hits you, it infects you. So that's how Batman dies. He dies by the infection that was put in him from the omega beams. But he still fights on. Like this nigga still keeps like fighting on while he's still alive. You know what I'm saying? And infected. You know, dude is so Batman. You know, but all that to say that when they finally win this time, because they were actually prepared this time, uh, what ends up happening is that they end up finding Luther in time, at least in time to like, I guess, thwart his plan. So they were able to actually save Diana and the Amazons on Themyscira, so that they don't die. Same thing with Aquaman, so he's not dead. And what ends up happening is all of Themyscira, and this is what I mean, like when you really look at what happens in the Marvel universe, you can tell like, oh, okay, this was the sell-off point, or one of the sell-off points, because there was many. But all of Themyscira, all of the seven kingdoms, and all of the nations on Earth, all their militaries, all their navies, all their air forces come together to come up against Darkseid and his army when he comes to invade Earth that time. So they're like fully prepared for this guy. Oh, when so but all because when Batman jumps to take the shot, Superman, just how he went crazy for Lois Lane, he kind of does go crazy here too, because it was like this is his friend. You know what I mean? You know, they do have history, whatever. So he still gets enraged, but not enraged enough to succumb to the anti-life equation. So he beats the crap out of Darkseid in this reality, to the point that Darkseid has to retreat. So he actually retreats, and then he comes back with his army. But when he comes back with his army, the League, the world nations, along with the seven kingdoms of the sea, and along with the Themyscira that's been in hiding, all united to take on the apocalyptic army, and we win eventually. You know, we actually win, and then Batman dies. You know, because I guess the infection takes its course. But even when he dies, whatever, Superman and Lois are still ended up together, because in all this process, he realized, and even in the sacrifice of Bruce Wayne, he realizes like he needs to be Clark Kent as much as he needs to be Superman. And so he ends up like working it out with Lois Lane and fathering the child that's not even his. Like, you know what I mean? And then, like I said, it ends where it says like 20 years later, the conversation between Lois Lane and I don't know if it was Selena Kyle or no, actually it was Barbara Gordon. Barbara Gordon, dude, Barbara Gordon.
I was literally just reading that one.
Yeah, bro, you know, so Lois Lane tells the son, you know, like, hey, you know, Bruce Wayne's actually your father, you know, takes him to the Batcave, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if you guys seen it, you'll probably see it, you know, more often now, but there's a Freddy fan art made of like a younger Bruce Wayne with the Batman suit, but the symbol is the BVS symbol, the bat, you know, with the bat symbol with the Superman insignia in the middle, technically like embracing both fathers.
What?
It's a pretty cool concept. But
that is a pretty cool concept.
But yeah, man. So this is what we were supposed to get.
But like, hey, how crazy though that even with Zack Snyder killing off Batman, like
there would have been a Batman.
There still would have been a Batman, just like in the comics.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like,
and this time his actual son, his actual blood.
You know,
right. Well, not to say that, you know, because I know Damian Wayne becomes Batman at a certain point. You know, and
I know. Well, now he does. Well,
yeah.
Like,
as far as comics are concerned, I know like
now
he's technically the only blood.
But like, as far as, before that, it was really Batman. Was 2099 or what was?
Oh yeah, Terry McGinnis.
Terry McGinnis. That it was
Batman Beyond.
Right, that he was like related to Batman. In a way,
was because he had the DNA of Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne.
Not him, but his mom, when giving pregnancy, had the DNA of Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne
planted in her. Dude, which is its
Which
own
that is
storyline in itself.
actually, yeah,
That's
that
one of the
that in
things.
itself is
It's
crazy.
kind of
Amanda
crazy.
Waller
Amanda Waller's a crazy G for that. Like realizing that the world needed Batman. Like if there was any
dude.
hero, that's think about that. Think about that. You know, out of all the heroes that exist with superpowers, the one hero she felt needed to always be was Batman. There has to always be a Bruce Wayne. Like it's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then the lengths she goes to make it happen. Like it's just crazy. It's crazy. But anyways, what I was gonna say is when you look at the opening of part two, right? It says that Deadshot comes to like help
Yes,
Batman save,
Batman,
or yeah, save John Stewart or not John Stewart, Green Lantern.
Green
I think it
Lantern.
actually was John Stewart, no? Or it doesn't say. It just says Green Lantern, right?
Yeah. I think it just says Green Lantern.
Well,
No, it does say John Stewart.
okay, whichever Green Lantern. I'm gonna say John Stewart because I just feel it has to be. But,
All right.
but you know, uh, you know, considering Deadshot being there, that tells me that he was working with David Ayer as well. That means Will Smith would have been there. That's what that means. That's what that's saying. Will Smith would have been in that scene fighting off parademons. But what that tells me is that when David Ayer says that his original cut was supposed to have parademons in it, that's what that tells me. Like that's true. Like he's not lying. The original cut or story arc we were supposed to see with the Suicide Squad was Steppenwolf actually involved with the Enchantress army, and that her army was actually supposed to be parademons.
Dude, and Mao, dude, now I'm just realizing these guys are such horrible people. Green Lantern had the most horrible rating. I don't know why. I like the Green Lantern. I don't know why.
Yeah, I actually thought it was good for its time.
I thought it was decent, you know. Uh, but regardless, whatever, it got its bad reviews. This man was going to revive them again, basically coming out, with something new, like where
Oh
it's
man, yeah. Because did you read? Did you get into
um
the part of like why Green Lantern shows up?
yeah, because he's looking for his friend from Earth that is presumed dead because other Green Lantern is missing. So he was gonna just bring back the Green Lantern to
Oh, oh,
revive it.
and they're part of the armies too. They're part of the armies, like the Green Lantern
Oh
Corps.
yeah,
Like
yeah, like Two Face. Oh my
yeah.
god.
So it was supposed to be the Amazonians, the Atlanteans, the Green Lantern Corps, and all the nations of. Come on, man! Like, what the hell are you smoking that you're saying no to this? But now here's the thing. Here's the thing. You can tell that these losers wanted to kick Zack Snyder out, but you can tell that they were probably going to try to attempt their own version of this. And I say that because we know that Joss Whedon reshot Justice League, that the one in 2017.
Mhm.
And what did they try to have as a post credit scene at the end? Or yeah, one of the post credit scenes at the end.
Uh,
Luther creating a league of his own, meeting up with Deathstroke.
Deathstroke, right?
So they were going
Right.
to try and attempt their own
They were
version of
the
of
Legion
that
thing.
happening. But the
Yeah.
problem is that movie tanked. It sucked.
Mhm.
Like at least I'm not gonna say it sucked, but I will say though is it just wasn't great. It
It was
wasn't
the,
as
the greatest.
it wasn't great.
I mean, even just reading this, it's like wow, like they would have had a whole different like reaction towards this. Like I think people would have been more intrigued and to wanting to know what's next, because it kind of leaves you with the whole like what's next.
hmm
And that's that they're gonna face Darkseid.
exactly.
So I mean, can you like so that was just gonna that's just and it's crazy because that's just like
And when you think about it, and this is why I'm saying they were sellouts. They were sellouts. Like they were sellouts. They were idiots, thinking and concerning themselves that one they were probably listening to Jeff Johns the whole time, probably trying to plant these negative seeds in them,
right.
telling them, "Oh, it has to be like Marvel." All the meanwhile, he's telling Kevin Feige, "Hey, this is what we got planned. And then what does Kevin Feige do? He does exactly what they were planning on doing. Because think about this: by the time Endgame comes out, or by the time it came out, we were supposed to already get this Justice League Part Two, technically, because
Right. But
JL, the first part, came out in 2017. 2 years following would have been Justice League Part Two. Is
oh,
ET, are you snoring over there? Is ET snoring over there?
I
I'm
think
here
so.
thinking he's clearing his nose.
I, yeah, me too. I thought he was like, I thought he was like, you know, I thought he was laughing. Honest, I thought he was like laughing, saying, like. but then I kept kind of hearing it in the background. I'm like, I think so. I think this guy's.
That's so hilarious. This dude fell asleep on the lines, boy. I muted his mic,
okay, okay.
but I'll leave it on. Hopefully, let me just say, ET, if you wake up, you can comment on the private chat, and let us know
Let us know.
you're awake. Let's keep this moving, then. You know what I'm saying? I don't
He
want to
said,
keep.
he said, he said, he said, fuck Warner Brothers.
I'm gonna go ahead and dream about this movie we could have had. Oh man! All right, look. All right, let's keep this moving then.
hey,
We
keep it
have
rolling.
already, yeah, we're on here for an hour and a half. So we know what we were supposed to get. You know, where it's clear now we're going in a different direction, right?
Right.
Which is fine because for me it's as long as Zack Snyder is in complete creative control. What happens next? I don't care. Like because I'm sure
Yeah.
he's gonna know what to do. And as long as he brings in the right guy, I hope he brings Chris Terrio back to like keep right. Because here's the thing, for me, it's like this is the next topic, anyways. Um, you know, this leads back to canon. Like I want Zack Snyder's Justice League to be canon. I want them to be smart enough to realize like this movie should be what dictates the future of the DC
Yeah.
cinematic universe or the DC extended universe, whatever you want to call it. Um,
I think it could. I think it. I think it could work out. I mean, especially. I mean, again, I think it's. I think it's like more. It's evolved. You know what I'm saying? I think instead of sitting around, uh, and don't get me wrong, I got a ton of freaking comics. I love reading them. It's not to say that
oh yeah.
that it's not to talk down on comics. I love. It's like I said in the beginning. Flash is my favorite. And
Mm-hmm.
Flash family like that, like how he evolves. To all that. Like, oh, I could go on and on, but this is just a new way. You know what I'm saying? Like this is just a new way of sitting down, creating pictures for someone to watch and enjoy. And something that I guess I'm glad that you were able to open my eyes on, so I could appreciate more. Uh, because I mean, maybe if I would have read this in high school or something, I'd probably been like, no, no way, no, Batman can't die, Superman can't die, Flash, what the hell? How's that? I probably would have
Right,
been,
right.
you know, ignorant
Oh
to it.
man, yeah.
But as
I just
far as
remembered the
with
storyboard, but
it,
go ahead.
like, I mean, like I think, well, we gotta watch. We definitely. I want to see what that cameo is. I want to see all the added parts to this Zack Snyder, um, because for sure, like reading that, reading the storyboard, um, there's so much we could have had.
Oh yeah, so much, so much. I mean, um, like the
It
reality
could have
too.
extended far because, like I said, like I was just saying, the Green Lantern, like, or yeah, the Green Lantern, they failed with that. They just stopped, like, or they just stopped at the first. I haven't even heard about the Green Lantern cinematic in forever. Like,
There was never a chance.
like that.
Yeah.
never a chance, right? This guy, I would say, like, really cared for the Justice League and who they were entirely, like including like Green Lantern. Now we talk, and honestly, even let's talk about Martian Manhunter, like how how he's been saying, how they were saying that General Swansea was actually Martian Manhunter in his own little disguise because he could what do you call it, transform and stuff, into
Shapeshift,
different
yeah.
people. Shapeshift, there you go. And there's just some words I can't say, bro, because of my mouth. It's so funny. It's like
No, right, right.
ever since I got my tooth pulled out, like some words that my brain just doesn't want to say, just for the fact that it would be more of a strain or something. I don't know.
No,
Anywho,
yeah,
but
been there. I know the feeling.
yeah, but yeah, him being a shapeshifter and like that, that in itself could have brought like a cinematic, really, like really of a bunch of Justice Leaguers, and a bunch of Legion of Dooms,
Bro, like, yeah, that's my whole point. Like, you know, I feel like,
like with
we read
what
that
they did,
storyboard.
what Josh did, and all of everybody else that was just so fuck retarded and stupid about it, and wanted to say no to that storyboard and decide to come up with their own. They just shut themselves out from making new uh anything. Like everything is, well, to me, it's like everything is already it was so um random as far as like happened, like you me and you were talking, things were like rushed, like again, like how I felt about Doomsday, like man, that's a pretty strong
Yeah,
opponent, but
they were trying to rush it. They were trying to rush
they
it.
rushed a lot,
They
what I'm
were they
saying.
were trying to catch up with Marvel instead of realizing, like, who cares what Marvel's doing? If as long as you keep doing your own thing and staying in your own lane,
And the thing is,
like,
though, what
people will notice what
really,
you're trying to do.
and the
That's
thing is
that's
with
the
the
problem. They were trying to mimic Marvel, like,
right, what
they
they're,
were trying to catch up to those numbers. Not, and here's the
and it's
thing
not
wrong
even a.
about that. Well,
You see, is he back?
you see, you're back to life.
No, you had us
This
dying, bro.
dude resurrected.
I was
Oh,
dreaming about the Snyder Cut, fam.
He
I
said
told you.
I had a vision. I had a
I
vision.
told you. Boy, I'm glad you did not have your camera on. That would have been even funnier.
He said it's John Stewart. He's the one.
Damn, I fell. My bad. I fell asleep hard.
Bro,
No, it's all good. Hey,
everybody
it's
who
funny
watches
because of the
this,
times you came.
I was like, oh, Batman.
Hey, for the times that you came in with the snores, it sounded like you were laughing at first. So I was like trying to figure out what Mikey said that was funny, because like I'm thinking like, oh, I want to laugh too. I want to be part of this joke. Like, did I really do this? And then like finally like I start hearing the small snores. I'm like, oh shit, this guy. uh, hey man, but you see, we're right now at the part where like where can
where
the
the
DC go
yeah,
from here,
right.
or where can they go? Being that the Snyder Cut, I guess, is being released.
I think there's two things. There's two things. Personally, in my opinion, like, if you really are wanting to go gun ho with whatever it is you want to do, and you're too prideful to admit that Zach is a visionary, and what he's gonna do, or what he can do, is can truly actually blow the park away. Um, Stick to the multiverse then. Like, luckily you guys
Yep.
have given that excuse. That there's a multiverse, and that's why you guys can do all these things. I mean, and it's plausible because Joker
And you could
exists.
really see that. You see that
Joker
in the
exists.
you see that in the MCU though. You could tell that in the MCU that there's time traveling involved. There's multiverse involved.
Well, but
But you
see,
could tell it's not organized
here's the
like the
thing: the
way,
multiverse doesn't even really exist yet in the MCU. That's so, like, as far as
like,
the cinematic universe, I'm talking about.
right. No, right.
It
Well,
doesn't even exist yet technically.
oh no,
Like,
right. It's just time
they
travel.
they they've played. and that's what I mean. Like, man, when you look at everything that happens in the Endgame, it's like, man, who like Jeff Johns is a rat, dude. Because like when you look at JL Part 2A, what was Flashpoint? But here's the thing that people gotta remember: this was was getting put together while BVS was happening. Hence, why time travel already existed in BVS. You know what I mean? So for anybody who's gonna try to say, well, like, look at the timeline. Like, yeah, I am looking at the timeline. I'm looking at when BVS was shot, when it was put together, when Zach and Chris Terrio already was preparing or yeah, in a sense, getting ready for the rest of their story arc. Like mainly Zach, I'm sure, putting together his own storyboards. What he already envisioned. Jeff Johns is a snake. He went and told these niggas, and then why we saw the same exact thing happen. Thanos wins. Darkseid won. In jail won. Infinity War won. Part one of the 2-part movie they had. Thanos won. The only way they can fix it, time travel.
Time traveling. Yeah.
It's the same thing with lesser
And the only
stakes because Disney cannot let anybody really die. You know what I'm saying?
die. Yeah. Like oh well, it's just like
But
it's like the
but no, and
Spider-Man
then the other part, who's the one that did die? Tony Stark,
Tony
who was gonna
Stark.
die in jail too.
Black Widow and Gamora.
Well, those I personally think they're still alive. Like I have my theories on Black Widow being in the Soul Stone,
Gamora is still alive,
and
but
Gamora is
shit, our
technically still
Gamora,
alive because remember she
our
comes.
Gamora is dead though.
You want her to be dead?
No, I said our Gamora is dead. This Gamora is completely
Well, yeah,
like
it's like
our
a
Gamora, the one we
timeline.
know, is completely dead for sure.
Right, but like not really. You know what I'm saying? That's why she's like back. You know what I mean? Like that's like there's no stakes when.
Oh, okay. I already know what you guys are talking about. I hate you guys so much.
Oh, you haven't seen Endgame or something, or
What? I have, but
oh,
I
okay.
don't remember her being back. What the heck? I remember her being dead.
No, she comes back in Endgame with Thanos when he comes back to finish all of Earth to do it right, and that's what I mean. Like, dude, that's
Oh, you have it, man.
that
That's
was
been
so
that
like
long.
when you think about it, it's like kind of stupid when you think about him. Like this nigga came. Even how they started that movie was kind of stupid. Like this nigga snapped half of existence out of the equation, and his first thing he had in mind to do was become a farmer and destroy the gauntlet. That's what his whole grand scheme amounted to. Like it's
I
like
mean
what?
that's Ali. That's how it was. No, like I would say that's really comic book accurate because
No, I
after
know
like
that. To
Sam the
me, what
Infinity,
to me, I'm saying like
like at
that's just
least
funny to me.
in
Like
my yeah, it is. It is.
No, but no, I get basically with Zack Snyder. Again, we going back to the fact that Zack, like again, he pulls out the origins of everything that we know and was making his own. But people are afraid. Like in the MCU, they pulled out the origins and just really kept it at to what it was. Really thinking that they were gonna have the grand.
but no, but they that's my thing with the MCU. They don't really,
They
and I feel like
don't.
that's what I mean. I feel
I
like
don't
that's
think.
why I'm like, why do that then? Like, why do you guys pull the storylines that already exist to just change it? Like that's actually what bothers me more a bit. Like I'm like, you guys say call it the Winter Soldier, and yeah, it looks like it is technically the Winter Soldier storyline, but it's not really. It's your own version, you know. And it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like originality, but I like originality. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like you put yourself in more danger trying to be comic book accurate, all the way to even doing the exact stories that already exist, but then to like venture on your own, like I'm like, that's why again, when you looked at the people that complained about that
That's
were the
risky.
comic book fans, you know, and that's what I tell people, like when it comes to these movies, the ones who are complaining the most aren't the casual viewers. It isn't the people who just love film. It's comic book fans, because comic
Right.
book fans have a problem with seeing inaccuracy, with seeing iterations that they love not be what they want or what they got in the film, or different version of a story that they love being told in a different manner, you
Which
know.
is kind of ridiculous, just because like every live action comic book movie is its own separate universe from comic books.
It is, but this is why I mean, like, you know, I don't think it's that smart to really like take comic book storylines that exist already if you're gonna do that. You know what I mean? And that's personally why like I liked what Zach was doing, because it's like, yeah, he was pulling for source material to like pay homage to certain things that exist, and to like, so that way it's like, oh yeah, I know these characters, but at the same time, the story he was bringing forward was a fresh story. You know, it hadn't been told really from that lens. You know, like, yeah, we've seen Batman versus Superman in the Dark Knight trilogy, or yeah, I mean, the Dark Knight, Frank Miller's Dark Knight, but it wasn't the same way that they fought in the Dark Knight. It was its own version of why they fought each other. Uh, you know, it wasn't because the government said Superman. It was because, you know, well, we know, we saw Batman versus Superman, but
Yeah.
so it's like it's like hints of these things that did happen and do happen, but it isn't the exact storyline. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, I'm gonna pull this from here, I'm gonna pull that from there, and so that way it's like you can't really be mad that, you know, your story that you love isn't the story that you love when you see it on the screen. And I feel like that's why they like Marvel kind of like messed up that aspect when it came to their comic book fans. Like it's like you can't be mad that they are mad, because it's like you're taking the stories that they do love, like the Winter Soldier, like Civil War, like the Infinity War saga, and you change it up on them. You know, you have them believe that they're about to see what they love to see in the comics, and then when it's on the screen, it's not exactly the same. You know, um, with characters even being different. You know, so I guess I can get it, is what I'm saying. Not that I personally care, like, because I'll be honest, I don't really care when people do their own thing. Actually, for me, like, I agree with you, Et. Like it's its own universe, it's its own thing. But I think they shoot themselves in the foot when they say Captain America, Winter Soldier, Captain America, Civil War, Thor Ragnarok, you know, Avengers Infinity War. You know what I'm saying? Like it just sends people off thinking like, oh yeah, we're about to see, you know, this storyline, you know, like from the comics, you know, and then you find out it's not really the exact storyline from the comics, you know, it's just bits and pieces, you know.
Yeah, it was like Thor. Yeah, Thor Ragnarok. You really thought you were gonna get like some Planet Hulk action, but
You know, yeah, you know,
you
so
don't. Like they make it Planet Hulk. You know what I'm saying? It's like like
so
instead of being the fact that the Hulk is bloodline somehow is the cure to this world. Now it's the people of the streets love Hulk so much. You know what I'm saying? Like that's such a drastic change, you know.
like I think they
But
would have been better
Same
off.
with the Ragnarok thing.
Yeah,
Ragnarok in the comic books, it all happens because Surtur was the one to destroy it. Even though in the movie he
yep,
does destroy it, like hella does nothing to do with the original Ragnarok
yep,
storyline.
exactly, exactly.
right,
So
no, exactly, no,
that's what I
right.
mean. Like, if they was like, I think they'd be better off. But and maybe this is me just judging them too harshly, but that's what I feel like. You lack so much originality that all you do is you go back to storylines that already exist and you alter them, rather than, if you do want to pull from source materials, do it, but like create your own storylines, or at the very least call it something else, so people are not thinking like, oh yeah, it's going to be this story. Like people can at least watch the film saying, yo, didn't that give you like a Ragnarok feel? You know what I'm saying? That was like Ragnarok, you know what I mean? But it wasn't Ragnarok, you know what I mean? Like, why don't you just call it your own thing, you know? But it's like, I don't know, it's like they can't think beyond what already exists, in my opinion, you know.
Well, for as where the DCU can go right now,
But yeah, let's go back to the
I
DC.
mean, as for where it can go, they could
They
definitely
can only go upwards.
right. Could it could no, it really
Only way,
should.
only way to go is up.
Uh,
You can't go
honestly,
any lower.
honestly, like especially being that Joker's back in the game. I that's definitely gonna be something different. So not like okay again, like I'm not the only person who didn't like the Joker in the Suicide Squad. I know that for a fact.
Right.
So like it's funny that everything that that dies out. Like again, like I said, the Joker, the Green Lantern. Zack Snyder's thinking differently. Like I'm gonna revive these guys because they're vital to my vision. You know,
Yes,
even though
yes.
in his story mode, in his storyboard, tired. I'm so tired, guys. In his storyboards, tried to kill off the Justice League. But guess where
That's
that would have
true.
led to? A new, something new, something that we saw. It basically ended with a new Batman. You know, who's to
It's,
say that Lex Luthor wouldn't have created a Superboy? You know, being that he already created Doomsday. You know, that's that he created Doomsday right here with
Luther.
Luthor, right?
Yeah, I think let's just say like, you know, with even what you're saying
Yeah,
that
I hear the birds chirping.
ET, there might be hope for you yet. You know, they might bring Shazam in for that very reason. Maybe you know Zach will be like, you know,
Shazam too, yeah,
I could save Shazam too. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Just bring in Black Adam. Fuck it, bro. Just a Black Adam cameo on. Well, my bad for the
Well, I
curse
don't know if
words, you know,
I don't
I
know.
but
don't think
hey,
it would happen soon.
I
If
don't
they,
think they're saving that guy. I think
I'm
there's gonna.
tired.
I think it's gonna be good. I have a feeling that Black Adam is gonna hit some
it,
charts.
you know, it's
Hey,
gonna
my
be
bad,
good.
y'all views.
It's gonna be good, man. But like, I think where the DCEU could go personally, if they're smart, is
If they
okay.
play the moves right,
Yeah, if they
they
play
could
the moves
go.
right, if they play the moves right, because like it's like, all right, you already, if you can find a way to bring in Shazam, dope, cool. Like I'll be cool with that. Let Zack Snyder do what he would want to do with that character, rather than
Right.
what Jeff Johns wants to do with that character. If they're smart, right? Um, and then it's like all these other. I mean, because like I said, Joker, the movie Joker came out. It's its own
Right.
thing. So
That's his right.
it's its own part in the multiverse. You guys already established that all these other movies that have come out prior have its own place in the multiverse, like the Superman Returns movie, the
Mm.
Green Lantern movie, uh, all these other shows that exist within either the
The
CW
original
or the
Batman.
DC universe. Yeah, the original Tim Burton Batman. You guys have already
Yeah, because
established.
even at that, it's gonna pop up in the Flash.
Yeah, so you guys have already established that this multiverse exists. So if we want to talk, so going back to canon and where the DC can go, make all these other films that do not connect to Zack Snyder's film, make them their own standalones because you
Yeah.
guys are already doing the Suicide Squad, which I feel is kind of like, you know, I'm excited to see it. I just hate at the price it came, but I am excited to see it nonetheless because of the
You
actors
said
that are
Jeff
in it.
Johns is on the brink of making a Green Lantern core show series.
Yeah, well, it was talks that he was going to be the one heading the
If,
Green Lantern Corps series along with Greg Berlanti and
here's my idea for him, and
go
hopefully
kill
he
yourself. No playing. Oh, I'm so playing. I'm so playing. I'm so playing.
That's all right. Oh, jeez. No, but if you take my idea, I will hunt you down, and you must give me money. No, but you must give me a steak. No, no, real talk though. Like, if he's ever gonna create something like that, uh, I think he should definitely do something with the Green Lantern Renegade. I showed you that comic
Oh
books,
yeah, yeah,
dude.
yeah, yeah.
That I believe
Yeah, you know
has
what?
potential in a
And I think
series.
that's
You know
up
what I'm
his
saying?
alley. I think that's up his alley,
And I think so. Like being that
considering what he's done with Stargirl,
exactly.
um, and how that came out to be. And apparently, it's actually got some good reviews from people as a series. They like it, they enjoy it. I haven't personally seen it. I kind of gave up on TV series revolving DC characters because the CW let me down. But you know what? To get back to where they can go,
I mean, it's because see,
just
you know
have
what?
that like
They
have
started off
have
good.
Birds of Prey, have the Batman, have the Suicide Squad. All that stuff is just like Joker, be its own thing in their own universe, alternate
You're so right,
realities that exist, and
dude.
all to just lead to this last point, and that's
For me,
restore the Snyderverse.
yes,
You know what I mean?
yes,
Restore the
yeah,
Snyderverse. Release the air cut. And let Zack Snyder
yeah.
continue his vision.
Let Zack Snyder do his thing. because regardless of the like we all like yeah, like you're saying, they're part of a different universe, which in all like retrospect, anybody really in the near future, if they wanted to get along with Zack Snyder, they could match it up, dude. You know what I'm saying? One thing,
Definitely.
honest, one thing man, I remember we used to watch The Flash, man, on the CW.
Yo,
We were, we were on that.
we were on that, dude. We were faithful
We
acolytes.
for real. And they lost. Avatar decided to have
Yeah.
armor of I don't even know, man. I don't even, that is crazy, bro. It's like a
Yeah,
whole. It's not even the real Savitar. It's like,
dude.
oh,
Yeah, they. Oh my gosh.
but
Their best. Yeah. Anyways.
dude, but even with that, bro, like, I could have faith that Zack Snyder could come out with his ideas to bringing that flashback to life. Organity. I thought.
For real, I was like, oh man, he's about
That
to
was on
suffer
Oh,
purpose.
again.
I thought I was like, oh snap. But dude, yeah, bring like just bringing all these stuff
That
back
one
to
was on
life.
purpose.
You know, to 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 a point like what was the point in time? Or there's like because they mention like the universes in a way like and they kind of like almost mention Batman versus Superman. They almost mention Man of Steel and then the Flash, and then Supergirl and then the Arrow too. Like they give you like little eggs in there, like where you're like, oh shit, they exist,
Hmm. No, yeah, it
Aquaman,
was cool what they did.
you know. So like with those things, like you could always like take that and we could always do something with it. Especially, are they still using this guy's the Flash?
Uh, Ezra Miller.
Yeah,
That's
he's
from
still,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's still the
okay.
Flash. He's still the Flash.
Okay, cool. Cause I thought
They're
he was
dragging
alright.
on the movie though, because she's not getting any younger.
Yeah, they gotta like hurry up and move on that for sure.
This guy's gonna have a 5 o'clock
Like
shadow.
that movie's been in
Well,
production for like ever since
on
Man of
that
Steel
note,
came out.
on that note, on that note, that Flash movie. Now we know Supergirl's coming out in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Have you guys? So,
cast
what if she's a secret cameo in the Snyder?
the actress that picked out for Supergirl. She's a really good actress.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
thought you were
She can act some
gonna
really good like
say,
accolades under, and like people are hating on it just because like she isn't of you know should I say Caucasian
American.
descent.
Yeah. Caucasian. Yeah, that's the word to use. Caucasian.
You
It's
know,
kind of
like
uh,
ridiculous,
she's
but
it's
Hispanic, so a
ridiculous.
lot of people are hating on the fact that
which is stupid
like
because it's like the Superman we have now is Henry Cavill and he's Australian.
He's
So it's like,
yeah,
Australian.
he's not even
what the hell are
not
you guys
even like full
complaining
on
about?
Caucasian. He
Although,
Australian
you
as
know
hell.
what though? Hey, I give props to Zack Snyder for making Henry Cavill like always looking buff as fuck. That guy always looked like he could really like punch you out of this universe, bro.
I
No,
just
for
hope they
sure.
fix the mustache.
The mustache got yeah,
Yeah.
that's gotta go.
Well, that's Josh Whedon. At least we know that. So at least we don't have to worry about that crap.
But those
Oh
suits that
God.
they be making for Henry, bro, they be on point, bro. They be making him look like real strong, dude. So that's
I mean, here's the
that,
thing. Like, if they continue, right? If they
like their
continue with
suits are
this,
on point, bro. The
no,
flashes.
the people he has making the suits are on point. And the crazy part is that even when it comes to the Flash, like he straight up said in an interview, like that's just his prototype arm, like his prototype suit. Like that's just him. That's Barry Allen figuring out, you
What
know,
he wants.
on his own, putting it together on his
Right.
own. That's what he. So like that's not even his official like the Flash
Dang.
suit. That's just my suit right now that I need to wear whenever I do run fast. Because if you
Right.
watch the trailer or the teaser that came out for the Flash, you can see that when he runs, his shoes disintegrate because of how
Right.
fast he runs. Um, so it's kind of crazy, really, when you think about it. But all that to say that even what we also know is that he's not even the Flash yet. Like, because what confirms that is the cameo he made on the CW
The
for the
CW.
Crisis on Infinite Earths. Because when the Barry Allen of the CW universe mentions you're the Flash, he says the who? He doesn't even recognize the name. You
Yeah.
know, insinuating he's not even the
Right,
Flash
right.
yet.
And no, exactly. And that's what he was like. That's when he started thinking about like the name, right? Like he was like, oh snap, the Flash.
Yeah, exactly. So that's probably how he
Yeah.
gets his name. Um, but
So actually, now that you bring that up, actually, yeah, I forgot about that cameo that they had with all those both Flashes. See, and that's another like, see that's to say that Zack Snyder could let him restore this freaking this
Snyderverse.
universe. Like let him restore this his universe onto what he wanted. Eventually, everybody will be happy to what they want as well.
Exactly.
That's
Let him
basic.
bring back the glory.
Right.
That's the final thing of it all. Like everybody is gonna have that peace. Like, but you can't expect to like. It's like just taking credit for someone else's lyrics, on a song.
Right. Right.
Like this is totally off subject, but it's like Juice WRLD getting sued for his Lucid Dream song. You know what I'm saying? But it's like that. So like at this point, like it's like okay, that when you want to decide to use someone else's vision, it's not gonna come out the same.
right.
Point is though, like if you let everything stay in place, it all connects regardless. Like the way they had the CW cameo with the cinematic flash.
Right. No. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it works out perfectly for like you said, who he was. He just became the Flash. His dad is still in prison. The Flash from the CW, his dad is not in prison. You know, so it's like you
Now, can
said,
I
yeah,
put
he's like
something in?
almost like a brand new Flash. But this Flash, Barry Allen Flash, is telling him, or like, yeah, you're the Flash.
Hmm. No. Yeah.
You know,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, my bad. No, I was gonna say, one thing that we did forget, I would admit, I would say this, is also the like bring it back to the like the non-canon, the, the canon, the connectivity of the DCU.
Mm.
Um, how the Flash showed up in Suicide Squad.
Yep. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Like we did forget about that, and I feel like that also
I I
should
definitely
play a
forgot
big
about
part
that.
of
When
the
the hell
Flash
did he come
story. You
out?
know, he stopped Boomerang
Yeah, he's the one who stops
from the bank
Boomerang.
robbery.
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember now. Yeah, yeah, like they show.
And
Yeah,
that
there was like little cameo, and that's how
that's a
he went
great
to prison,
connection
right?
to Snyder's universe. It's a great connection to Snyder's
Oh,
universe, in
and
my
not
opinion.
just that, not just that. How about the end credit scene or post credit scene with Bruce Wayne and Amanda Waller? You know,
Yes,
to
and
how he
Amanda
actually
Waller.
goes to find the League. That's why that movie actually is key to when you're watch, or at least it should be key to when you're watching this movie that's about to come out March 18th, Zack Snyder's Justice League, because technically the only reason Bruce Wayne knows how to find these guys is because of all the information he was able to get from Amanda Waller to have her protected
Yeah.
by him from what happened in Midway City. So, and that's what I mean. All that stuff is telling to that like Zack Snyder really was working with these other directors to have a cohesive universe. You know, um,
But people, there's just that one guy. It only
yeah. I
takes
mean,
one person, bro.
for real.
It only
I'll
takes
be
one
honest.
person to mess something up, man.
I have my, I do have my doubts right now, personally, against Patty Jenkins. I feel like she's probably one of the people that was approached on like, hey, if we get rid of Zach, you can do this or blasey blasey blasey. I don't know. I think she was with it. I think she was actually with it. I think she had this like ego of not being under someone as far as like, movies are concerned. I don't
Mm.
know. I have this feeling. I just feel like that because out of all the directors, uh, that were asked about like the whole Snyder cut or Zack Snyder, she was the one who was always quick to evade it. Like James Wan had no problem, like kind of just speaking his 2 cents about it. David Ayer completely supported him because he knew what it felt like because his movie got tampered with. But the only director that never said anything, dude, was Patty Jenkins. Like, and she'd always like get offended if the questions were asked, like and trying like, hey, we're not here to talk about that, whatever. And it's like, for someone like, I'm sorry, like if we were cool, and I know, like I'm not gonna pretend like I don't know the talk that is being talked about my friend, and when they ask me about him on live television or whatever, I'm gonna stick up for him. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna say, my 2 cents, even if it's that you're like not trying to like get in bad blood with the studio. Well, then you just don't mention anything about the studio, but at least speak on maybe the character of Zach. Mention maybe how like you did have some insight about what the original plans were and you liked it, and but it is what it is. We're here now. This is Hollywood, whatever. Like something along those lines. But no, like you're so quick to evade it as if there's something about that history there that will expose your part in this.
Like
Mhm.
as if something's making you nervous as to why like you really don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, But that's
St-
again just my way of thinking about it because I'm like just putting two and two together. Like it just out of all the directors, they're the only one who always tried to avoid it. So,
Man,
but look, man, I think we can. I think we could all talk about this forever. You
right?
know,
It's a good dream about it.
ET can dream about it. ET, tell us what visions you were given while you were sleeping. What did you see?
I saw people dying.
Oh man,
Oh, but yeah, man,
I
restore the
saw
Snyderverse.
Darkseid just
restore the Snyderverse.
clapping
Let
cheeks.
let the DCU be free. Like let
Free
it
my people.
free the people, man.
Let
Let them
Zach
be
do what he
creative.
wants, man.
Let
You
them
ever
do
heard of
what they
Lemon?
gotta do.
Let
There's
my people
nothing.
go.
There's nothing wrong with a little bit. There's not nothing wrong with the the main characters, though.
I think personally too, like once we see what this guy's
There's
about to
nothing
do with the
wrong with
new gods in this
gruesomeness.
film, I think we can kiss Aver. Well, either that. Here's the thing. Like, I don't think. Let me say this: it's not about having Zach direct everything, but it's
No,
about
it's not.
it's about having his vision for these characters
I'm
come to
saying let it
fruition.
be another foundation for something
Let
that
it,
might come
let it be
in
the
future.
foundation for whatever else these other directors are trying to do. There you go.
Wanna do you know what
If
I'm
that
saying? Like,
um, I think even with that being said, it's like you can let's just say let's say they go forward with the Ava DuVernay New Gods. One interview I saw recently said with Deborah Snyder, which is Zack Snyder's wife. She said they asked her like, what other director would you like to work with, something like that, or female director, and the name she actually brought up was Ava DuVernay. You know,
oh,
so who's to say that they're not considering working on the New Gods project with her, seeing that we're already seeing the New Gods in Zack Snyder's Justice League. At least the ones from Apocalypse.
it's
You know
crazy
what I
because
mean?
people are like so focused on right now, right? On the Superman, the Batman, and Flash. But dude, there's so much that they could do.
So much.
That TV series are taking a grasp of first, which is like
Kind of sad.
sad, right?
But
Sad in a way.
but that's my other theory too, though. That's my other theory is like even when we saw when you think about like what we were supposed to get, and then when you think about what we saw in the CW universe, it's like I feel like
Yeah,
what I'm saying, like
but
this whole like partnering
right.
of because if you saw Crisis on Infinite Earths, what did it do?
They brought everybody, all the freaking TVs,
And,
nation, networks,
and then they brought Luther to like,
and they
and what
brought
was Luther trying to
Luthor.
do in the show? Luther was in it for his own gain, and it ended up backfiring on him.
telling you, bro. There's so much room for improvement, and especially like I said, you got all these TV series like stealing ideas. Like really, like I put it at this point. I think it was really the network that they had to work with. You know what I'm saying? I think it's actually that's another key because you got the CW that was like, you know what I'm saying? Like you started off good, but like that was fast, and that's that they try to save themselves with God knows how many other shows. You know what I'm saying? Because it first started with the Arrow. It was strong for a while until it was like, oh, then the
Right.
Flash came. It was like, all right, cool, you just saved yourself, CW. We're gonna, boom. The Arrow was like on the sideline, and
I feel
then
like I feel like those. I feel like Arrow was still good at that point. I feel like they all fell at the same time. Let me say that. I feel like
they
they all
felt
fell at the
when
same time.
DC Legends came out play. I was, I
DC
always
Legends of
talk,
Tomorrow.
yeah, I always talk to you about this. I don't know, I don't like them, but
No, yeah, I know you didn't. The only reason
it
I
was
liked
just
that show was the season one, and just because they found a way to incorporate Hawkman and Hawkgirl. But I'll be
yeah,
honest, I would have
yeah.
preferred if they had
That's
their own
true.
show. That's honestly what I really wanted.
Right. No, so like yeah, going back to like all these TV series or uh they gotta find the right network, bro. Now that's why I'm saying it's key. I think HBO Max was just perfect for Snyder to release it through because I don't know, like well people might think HBO don't got a lot for them, but
Oh
I
hell
think they
no!
do. I think they do.
HBO Max is a perfect platform to be on.
No, and that's
You
what
got
I'm
to
saying.
consider all the great content that came out of HBO alone,
Alone,
just
that's what
when it was HBO, like
I'm
Game of Thrones,
mm-hmm.
Westworld,
Westworld.
uh, His Dark Materials.
Yep.
Dude, there's so many great shows that come.
There's so many. There's a lot,
You
and
know what I'm saying?
they're all like they all have something in common, which is that they're like gruesome, dark, oh, like your avatar.
Yeah, ET, I like it.
Uh, they have realism in it. They have they really get out of the
It's
park.
very imaginative. You know what I'm
Imaginative, there
saying?
you go.
It
So
does
like
it
at
has
this
so much
point,
creativity.
exactly at this point,
And
Snyder Cut being on there was just like
on
I
that
applaud you
Thursday, so like
because now they
the
have to come up
whole
with a way, like you said, now they have to come up with a way to restore the servers, and they're gonna do that within HBO, bro. And I mean, because I don't see any other. Honestly, I don't see uh having the budget for it. and and working. I guess is that
Uh, yeah. ET, were you saying something?
yeah, no, well, what Meme had brought up the whole, oh, and you guys about the whole Hawkman and Hawkgirl stuff.
Mm.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind Hawkman also being the one to have the cameo at the end of the Snyder Cut.
Yes, 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 yeah, yes. Okay, now you're talking my language. He'd make more sense to make a cameo rather than Black Adam.
Yeah,
And
honestly, I would
yeah,
prefer
because
Hawkman.
he's from Earth too. You
yeah.
know,
And not only that, he's an OG Justice League member.
He is an OG Justice League member. Yep, and makes sense because again, like when you're looking at what Zach did here, he's pulling from so many
Oh,
iterations. Like
oh,
Justice
bro,
League.
and
you're
Hawkman
right.
is supposed to show up in Black Adam too,
That's
so
no. That's why I said what I
it would
said.
make
Right.
sense.
Bro, what makes
That's
yeah,
what
I
I'm
was
saying. Like
about to say
to
that.
connect to connect that thread, you don't
Just
have to
about to
technically
say,
use Black Adam.
like
You could
Adam, you could just
actually
use
use Hawkman, and that would
Hawkman,
make more sense.
both Hawkman
That
and
would.
Hawkgirl. It'd be raw if they brought them both because again, they're both. Well, I mean, it'd be because
Ooh,
mind you, both Hawkman and Hawker, we all know that they're always reincarnated.
that's what I was just gonna say.
They're
Yep.
Um,
always reincarnated because they're lovers that that can separate.
what?
That's gotta be a funny life, bro.
I really hope they don't drop the ball with that, man. As far as like Black Adam's concerned, because like the Nigerians, boy, they're not gonna play with, like, especially in the comics.
Mm,
Like if you read the comics, especially the new
nah,
ones
they're
too,
the
the new
strong one.
ones,
They're the
like
strongest. They're one
the
of the
way
strongest
they've,
warriors, bro.
yeah, the way they've upgraded Hawkman, dude, like, oh, that
Oh,
guy's,
dude, I haven't seen it.
especially with his the nth metal, the how man,
No, I haven't seen
it's
it.
been
But what
dope.
I have
It's
seen
been dope.
was what I showed you with the side beast.
Oh yes, yes,
Uh, I
yes.
thought that was raw as hell. You
Pretty
could
dope
turn
right
into
there.
anything you want, and you have all the data in the world. like, like, damn. You know
I
what I'm
was
saying? So imagine having all the data in the universe. Actually, I said the world in the universe, being able to turn into anything from the universe.
matter of fact, man, dude, when you see like when you see like
Oh,
Cyborg's
dude.
power, dude, like I don't know if Ray Fisher talked about it today too, low key. Since it was his day, he shared some posts. But in his posts, he put how like Zack Snyder intended for this. These were his words to have Cyborg damn near, if it wasn't damn near, it was like on par to Doctor Manhattan's power level. Let me just look it up, bro, because I don't wanna
Mm,
I don't wanna mess up what he said. But just think about what I just said there. Think about that. What I just said.
that's
Cyborg
powerful.
on the same power level as
That's insane, bro.
Doctor Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan could teleport, bro. Like
The thing
that's
is that so can Cyborg in the comic books.
I
Mm.
know. Like, well, I mean, with the yeah, right. His boom tube. I know. What the heck? That's
So
crazy.
So here, this is what he said. He said to take a lesser known black character and evolve them into the most powerful being in the DC universe, rivaled only by Dr. Manhattan, is no small feat. We're lucky Zack Snyder doesn't do small feats. That's what he said. He, the most powerful being in the DC universe, rivaled only by Dr. Manhattan. That's what he said about what Zack was intending to do or intends to do with this cyborg. There was another one where he was, or actually, it's even in the storyboard where it says he was a god of the digital. Oh man, what
yeah,
is?
Yeah, I
that
know.
the way that alone speaks to me a lot in comic book levels, because I feel like what Snyder's trying to do is that he's trying to really bring to life the cyborg of New 52, which the cyborg was like a complete god in his own level,
Yes,
like a
yes.
complete god. He was surpassing a lot of like god level heroes just
Mm-hmm.
with being so advanced with technology. Like he was teleporting, um,
I mean, think
you
about
know,
it. Think about it. This guy comes from new god technology. So in rights,
yep.
he is a god. You know what I mean? And
He comes from the
technically,
mother boxes.
yeah, so technically he is a god. He is new god. He
He's
is,
a
you know what I'm saying?
god.
He is technically part of the new god family.
He can
What?
manipulate any kind of technology, any kind of technology he can
And
manipulate.
honestly,
He can
bro,
teleport anywhere around the universe.
being the
That's how
fact
ridiculous he is.
being the fact that Darkseid is came into like it's already showed that they already showed it. Zack Snyder showed that Darkseid comes with his Apocalypse family. Who- 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 Who's to say that the cameo might not be the new gods?
You're absolutely right. Right. It might be one of the new Genesis gods. What if it's Orion? What if it's Highfather?
Who's to
I don't
say
know.
that Zack Snyder will? Okay, let's say that that's not even like not even the cameo. What if that is in there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Because
Yeah.
because again, that you guys are right. Like Cyborg is part of the new god, and then the thing is when all this activity with the mother boxes happens, what happens in the Young Justice series? the new gods come out to see what's happening with their instruments that they've lost, or they got stolen, and they had to recop it. They had to regrab it.
Mhm. And actually, you
So
know what?
that's exactly what's
Even with
happening. You
that,
got
even with
the
that,
dude. Wait, listen. They got the like. So that's why storyboard of what the old storyboard with Lex Luthor messing with the mother boxes.
right?
Uh, Darkseid messing with the mother boxes with to get the anti-life equation. You know, then regardless, all these mother boxes were already on Earth. How, where, and where? Like how, when, and where was the new gods when these boxes were there?
Here's
It does explain how they brought them or how they came, but
right.
from there, they could come at any moment.
No, look, you're so right. Here's what people forget is that Zack Snyder says, like, or he said it, like, my original arc was going to leave the story at a point that they could have taken it anywhere. Like, you could have done anything where I was leaving it, you know, meaning, yes, technically, if you wanted to, like, do the new gods, you could have done the new gods. If you wanted to do, um, the Green Lantern Corps, you could have done the Green Lantern Corps. If you wanted to do more, you could have, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there was nothing stopping them as
Right.
long as they would have, like, just let him tell the story the way he did. And it would have the only thing that would have probably been upsetting, or not upsetting, but just like, I guess, a downer. And it's even a downer to think that that's still, I think, gonna be the truth, is that Ben Affleck wasn't trying to be Batman forever either. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
why in the storyline he does sacrifice himself. But, like, he still fixed it in a way that it was like, but there's still Batman in this world. You know what I mean? And it's Lois Lane's and Bruce Wayne's son, who's raised by Superman. Imagine that, a Batman that exists
Raised
with the morals and upbringing and ideals of Superman. Like,
the training. You know what I'm
you know
saying?
what I mean?
How do you train with an alien, bro? Like, you know what I'm
And
saying?
then, and not only that, but think about, like, if it was Barbara Gordon who talks to Lois Lane, I'm gonna assume Barbara Gordon is actually teaching this kid some stuff too. You know, like, and that's what I mean. Like, when you actually read how it ends, it's like, yeah, you're right. They could
What
have taken
is
it anywhere.
it? It does. I didn't read any moment where they share the name of her son.
Oh no, the name of the son is actually Bruce Kent.
Wow, bro, that
Yeah.
is crazy.
Hmm. That would have been crazy. So, anyways,
Because it only makes sense. Is like because we know that super. I mean, Batman. We always knew in the comics and in the cartoons, Batman has always somehow had like this magnificent brain of defeating aliens. You know what I'm saying? Who's to say that this Bruce Kent isn't a beginning? On Superman training him about, well, one, he's the alien. Well, he himself is an alien.
right.
So like with experience is knowledge.
Hmm.
And knowledge is power.
What's amazing is just like, oh snap, we got a comment. Let's see what's going on. Why is J Station here? Who is J Station? Anybody, you guys know who J Station is? Nicholas Diorio. I don't know who J Station is, man. But yeah, man, like, it's it's crazy when you think about where they were planning on going with it, man. Um, but what I can say is I have enough faith thinking that, like, if they had a cool idea then I don't see why he wouldn't have a cool idea now.
Oh, I think he's talking about me. That's hilarious. You're funny, Nicholas. Oh no, never mind. Who? What?
Unless it's ET's Avatar.
No, no, not at all. Now I'm confused. Apparently, J Station is a YouTuber, but I don't understand. I don't understand, I don't understand this.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, if he wants to be here, he can be here. Um. But yeah. Anyways, man. Uh, I think
Oh shit! I don't
overall,
know.
like, right. Yeah. I don't know. Let's let's focus on wrapping this up. We're already at the 2 hour and 25 minute mark.
Oof.
Yeah. We went in. We went in, man. But rightfully so, man. Rightfully so.
Yeah, I went in and I fell asleep.
Yeah. Yeah. This guy. This guy took a little nap for us. You know what I mean? Came back with visions of the future.
Oh, okay. I guess I understand what he means now. It's a little okay. So I guess this J Station guy would make videos in the mornings, like how we are now.
Oh,
I guess that was. I guess.
that makes sense. That actually makes more sense than.
I mean, that's what I
I
would
mean, it
assume. I
is
don't know who J
five
Station is.
o'clock in
So
the
any,
morning.
my fault, bro. I didn't mean to mess up the ending here, but yeah, I was just. I,
No, no. I honestly, I was kind of curious too. Like, what does he mean, J Station? I was bugging me. Like, who the hell is J Station?
yeah, now that I look it up, it's like I didn't understand it. Then I started reading some like biography here, and then that's what it says
ET
that
said I'm gone.
right. He was a vlogger who garnered controversy for his fake 3 a.m. and prank videos on the video sharing website YouTube. I guess.
That's actually kind of funny thinking about it. Like,
Uh,
because like, what's like, I can imagine this situation is like he also got pranked maybe by watching the video. You know what I'm saying? Like thinking it was gonna be something else. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
uh,
you guys weren't talking about what I wanted to talk. You guys are who I thought you were.
that's
Okay, I
funny.
think he's gone, man. He just said I'm out, guys.
Maybe his phone died. Who knows?
No, he said he was charging it. No, that was like the whole reason his camera was.
Oh
There
yeah,
he is. There he is. He's
he's
back.
he's back. He's back.
What
Once
happened?
There
again,
he is.
I refreshed the page accidentally, y'all.
Oh wow, that's dude. Yeah,
Uh,
I went to look
yeah.
at my
StreamYard on the
notifications
phone
and I
is
refreshed the page.
complicated. Hey, well, yeah, we finna wrap this up. Go ahead, Mike.
yeah,
Anything
yeah. Let's go ahead and wrap
do
this
your
up,
thing.
man. Um. So with that being said, guys, I guess final thoughts. Let's just get our final thoughts on the matter, and
Well,
um,
I'm excited. I'm I'm hoping the surprise cameo is like something that we haven't seen before. Something amazing. Like honestly also hoping that those 4 hours that I sit to watch the Snyder cut, which I know they will be worth it. I just hope that throughout the whole 4 hours I
Just
don't fall
space
asleep.
out.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh, oh man, that'd be
Because
hilarious,
you
bro.
you shouldn't just because I saw an interview with Grace Randolph and Zach where pretty much for each chapter of the film there's something big happening.
yeah,
Like,
each chapter is different too.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
they differently too.
so you shouldn't knock out the way you knocked out on this live.
Like, yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. I don't want to knock out like I did on this live. You know what I'm saying? So I
or
mean, I
like
know
you
it's gonna
did
be a
on
good movie. I'm excited. In all honesty, like I like the way things are going with Zack Snyder. The direction that he's taking with the universe is his own way, and that he's actually trying to connect he's trying to connect his movies to
he's
every
trying to
to these
connect.
other movies. He's trying to create the DCEU, which what should be is the DCU, something that should have been created a while ago, Snyder is the one, Snyder has been the one putting the DCU out there. He gave the DCU a name. So I'm just hoping that this movie does so good that it opens Warner Brothers' eyes and DC's eyes, and they realize like, damn, you had something really good with Snyder, and you effed it all up because you wanted to be selfish. And
Big
that's what I'm
facts.
hoping with this movie. I'm hoping it succeeds to the point where it proves them wrong. You know, like it shows them like, damn, Snyder got it. Snyder was the one who's doing all this for us. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have any of this. Like
Right.
all that money that they made from these movies, they would have never made it if it wasn't for Snyder starting this universe. And
Right.
I'm just hoping this movie blows it out of the park and just proves them wrong.
Big facts. Big facts. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. How about you, He-Man?
He-Man.
He-Man,
He-Man.
I got the
So
power.
I'm just as excited, I guess, but at the
The
same time
power
nervous.
against all.
Because well, I'm more excited. I was more nervous because I remember I was talking to Mike. I was like, man, how much more content can a person have? But it really seems like this man had something, not just content. This man had a whole universe in his whole mind that he was trying to create for his own. And honestly, I remember as a teenager, I would always talk to to Davino, and we would always talk about how it would be cool of us creating our own little universe, and we would always come up with some crazy stuff,
For
um,
sure.
on some like funny stuff, and on some
I thought we
fun,
had some pretty
you
good
know.
ideas.
I know, I thought it was so too. I always had the flash at always. I don't
Yeah, that's for sure.
know. But you know, yeah, I just hope that people are not too like closed off, like don't want to accept it just because there was already a Justice League movie, and like it is a complete it looks like it's completely different, and from what I read you know so there's like there's for this, I mean, I guess for what I'm saying, this goes for the people who probably are not reading into what we're saying, who are not listening into what we are talking about, and are not even aware of the fact that there's a movement of a Snyder cut. I hope that they understand that, like that this man is supposed to change things, and or at least was supposed to, and things got ruined. Like I hope all that is like, I know it's just a move, like a to watch something like, but I hope within that, like people could be like, oh wow, yeah, this is totally different. Oh, this I remember seeing this. Oh, but that like, like you're gonna get like refreshed at the same time. Like, wow, that is awesome to see. Type of feeling I want. Like I want to has uh and hopefully the Flash is also just as good. Because they can't just stop right there, man. They can't just stop at the Justice League, man. I know. A lot of people closed a lot of doors, but it's time to open them. Shoot,
Yeah.
there's a lot more room for a lot more people. You still got the Teen Titans, the Young Justice. Uh, you still got, dude. Again, we still haven't seen the Martian Manhunter. You know,
We don't know what happened
we
to
have
Robin.
That
Rob.
too, man. Ooh, which reminds me, low key, actually, for this movie, there actually might be hints of the Batman Ben Affleck's film, like that we're supposed to get, that actually might be in this movie.
Wow.
Ooh. I hope they explain what happened to Robin for sure, because that's one of the biggest mysteries in the DCU right now.
Oh
What
yeah, yeah,
happened to Robin?
especially because it's Dick Grayson.
Yep.
He's supposed to be Nightwing, yeah,
You
or
know,
become. I said.
well, he was supposed to, but I mean, in this reality, he's dead. Joker killed this
Right.
killed Dick Grayson. So, which I
Yeah,
mean, like I
No
get it. You know what I'm
longer.
saying? Like I get it. It's not like it's far fetched. I guess not
because
to.
honestly, I'm hoping that after the Snyder cut, they greenlit a Affleck Batman movie, and that hopefully we get a background to like how Robin got killed, and how Batman like he became ruthless. You feel me? Like I would
Mhm.
love a prequel of Batman versus Superman. But Batman's like story of what happened. Before he got involved with Superman or whatever. Before Superman even came to Earth, or not even came to Earth. Before even Superman truly learned his powers. Like I would love a Affleck Batman origin movie. And that's why I'm hoping the Snyder Cut blows it out of the park, because it will open so many doors to so many other movies, to get greenlit.
Mhm. Oh hell yeah.
And from
Yeah.
different and not and like you were saying too, Davino, it's not like all of them are gonna be Zack Snyder. It's just all different writers, but like that exactly
Yeah,
like
different
ET is saying,
writers.
it'll just open doors for all these writers to come together with him.
Right. Exactly. I
Instead of
mean,
trying to just take the whole spotlight all by yourself.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like as long as you're willing to like do teamwork, I think it works out. And I feel like that's what Zach wanted to do originally, when with
Yeah.
David Ayer, with James Wan, with Patty Jenkins at the time.
Hmm.
You know, um, it was about like, hey, let's try and create a cohesive universe together. Um, but in the end of the day, it's like you kind of have to listen to the man in the sense of like not listen to him, but do your best, because that's all he said. He was asking was like, hey, just let's see how we can connect these characters that I brought, because he technically did bring these characters to life in the DCU, as
Yep.
ET said earlier. Um, so all he was asking was, let's find ways to incorporate these characters into your story, so that at least there's minor things, not crazy story plots, but just minor plots of your story that kind of indicate that they're in the same universe, so that it is a connected universe. But do your own story, like like he would still let them do their own thing. So Zach's not a greedy man. He knows how to play ball. So
Yeah.
it's just
My
this. Yeah.
no. I was just gonna say. So my final thoughts are that was
Right.
that
Right.
was that yeah, man, that Zack Snyder blows us out of the park and opens doors and uh have maybe a long term extension contract with HBO so they can start using their green screens and all their CGIs because CW ain't cutting it enough.
I Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it, man. Like I feel like you know, if Warner Brothers wants to continue to be dickheads, then I feel like if this does well, he'll still have a place in HBO Max, and
Right,
overall AT&T is the big boss. So whatever they say goes. So like it
goes
doesn't
right.
matter if Warner Brothers doesn't want to continue working with Zach. If AT&T says you're gonna keep working with Zach because we said so, they have to follow suit. You know, because they're gonna, if they say like, do you know how many subscribers we got? Do you know how many viewings we got of this film? You know what I'm saying? Like, um, there's just no way. There's no way. And this movie really financed itself in the sense of like marketing. You know what I mean? Like up to this point, you know,
Yeah,
um, simply because it has a fan base that was willing to push it and promote it for them.
right.
Um, but yeah, I agree. Like the success of this film will I believe open the doors for the Ayer cut, um, for the Batman movie, or even series, whatever they want to do. Um, and even if they want to give it a different name, just because like, well, they already like idiots gave it, Ben Affleck's movie to. I mean, I say idiots just because they were stupid for interfering and meddling and ruining everything as it was in the first place. Not to say that I don't think I'm not gonna like the movie um, that's coming with Robert Pattinson, that and what's his name? Damn, I can't think of his name. The director, Matt Reeves. That Matt Reeves doing. I personally think it's still going to be a good movie, but unfortunately, it's also called the Batman because it was, like I said, they technically are running, with a movie that, Ben Affleck titled, and obviously Matt Reeves did his own thing, but rightfully so. Like I feel like as a director, you should be able to do your own thing, in a sense, and especially because I don't think the movie wasn't even shot yet, the one that Ben Affleck was trying to do. Um, but you know, with that being said, like maybe come with a different title for it, I'm trying to like right now. This whole time I'm here, I'm like I was trying to think of different aliases that he's had that maybe he could use rather, because like the Dark Knight's already been used,
Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight, but that's just Arkham. But that would work too if the movie is based in Arkham, right? Like, so maybe that's one way to go about it.
Yeah, true.
But
Cape Crusader.
Cape Crusader, the Cape Crusader, but that sounds kind of corny. I don't think it's enough.
It does.
That's why they used it in Shazam. It's Cape Crusader stuff. That's Batman.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Final thoughts was that, man.
No, I'm with it. I'm cool. Like I agree with you guys. Like I really think let Zack Snyder do what he wants to do. Hopefully, just not hopefully. I know this film's gonna do good, man. Like here's the thing. Like the only people I see complaining about it are either Marvel shills who really just love Marvel, so they like hope for the demise of this movie, and just people who love, like again, those comic book fans that just want the comic books material rather than new stories being told. Those are the only people complaining about this. That are not like that are saying they're not excited. But the funny thing is they're gonna watch it too, because it's like it's comic book genre, it's comic book relative. It's got your favorite characters in there. There's no way you're not gonna watch this movie. That you're not gonna watch this movie as a comic book fan. And I think though, even for the casual viewers and the film people, they're gonna watch this film because, in the end of the day, it's a breath of fresh air when you think about all the oversaturated superhero content we're getting out of, other companies. People want different. You know what I mean? Like they don't want the same thing. And that's why, like, despite the way people think BVS was taken in, the numbers say otherwise. When you look at the box office numbers, they tell a different story from what all these bloggers and all these paid Disney news heads and journalists and all these Marvel shows who just wanted the DC to die. They were the only ones spinning that negative narrative,
Right.
But it was so obvious that it was that because there were so many bloggers and journalists at the time, I remember, all saying the same exact thing, like robots, almost as if they were given like a script, from Disney. Like, hey, we need you to trash talk this movie as much as possible. We need to stop the momentum, and confuse and convince Warner Brothers that they're doing the wrong thing, But in fact, they were, if they were really looking at the numbers were telling them they were doing the right thing, because your second movie into this universe you guys wanted Zack Snyder to create already was close to $1 billion, and maybe, just maybe, had you not meddled with that film and let the Ultimate Edition be what came out in theaters, you maybe would have seen your $1 billion that you were so desperate for. But because you meddled with the movie, got in the way of the version that should have came out first, and then you, not only that, but then you poorly marketed it by putting characters in your trailers that didn't need to be there. People would have went alone to see this movie just because of Batman and Superman, but because you guys were trying to be woke at the time, you said, no, show that Wonder Woman's in the movie, so that people also come to see the movie because Wonder Woman's in there. Wait, you know what? That's not enough. You know what? We have to show that Doomsday is in the movie. More people are gonna, saying we gotta fill those seats. You guys are bugging hard as hell. Like if you like, it just blows me because I'm like, did you guys not see how Dark Knight was successful? The trilogy, like people went into the
Uh,
theater
all by
thinking,
himself, bro.
yeah, all by himself just because it was Batman. Yes, they saw some of the villain, like they saw one villain, not even knowing that there was another villain, and that's what people came out of the theater talking about, telling other people like, "Yo, you need to watch this movie because there's a villain that comes out that you're not even gonna expect to be there." You know what I mean? Like that's what made those movies like crazy. Like no one saw Two Face coming because he didn't exist in the tra- or in the trailers. Um, and Dark Knight Rises, same thing. Nobody expected Talia al Ghul to be the mastermind at the end because they were so focused on Bane being the one in
Or
the
even,
trailer.
or even having Selena Kyle too, like,
Oh yeah,
or
yeah. Well,
or
no, I think she
having
was in
her.
the trailer.
She was in the trailer, but they don't really. I don't
Right? They
think
didn't. I don't. I
really
think
show
I'm
her.
not sure. I can't remember. But my whole point is there's always an element of surprise. You have to leave, and it's like they robbed that of BVS. Like, okay, fine, you want to show Wonder Woman because you feel like it'll inspire women to come see the movie, cool. But why'd you have to add Doomsday? Like, why would you do that? Like, that would have been that surprise that nobody was expecting. Because you know why? The title says Batman versus Superman. People are going to see this movie thinking it's Batman versus Superman. And you know what? Even if he decided to be stupid enough to show Wonder Woman with that whole blocking the rays, people would have been like, "Oh snap! Did she side with Batman and helping him face Superman?" And then when they go watch the movie and say, "Oh shoot, it's Doomsday," then you leave the theater and like, yo, you're not gonna expect someone in the. I don't even want to tell you, bro. Just go watch the movie. You have to watch. That would have been the response, But they poorly were so what's the word I'm looking for? They were so insecure, because they thought Superman was, which is just nuts to me, because it's like Superman Returns only made $300 million. The fact that Man of Steel made 600 and some should have been a good sign enough to be like, yo, yeah, let's, we're going in the right direction. But like I said, I personally believe by the time BVS was coming out, um, because keep in mind these movies are done being filmed and put together months before they're even promoted, you know. So that tells you that before it was even promoted, Zach was probably already working on the JL storyline, um, and around that same time, this niggas like Jeff Johns and whoever else was already conspiring. And I can imagine even at that time, it's like, yo, we gotta stop the success of this movie as much as possible. Hey, you know what you should do, guys? You should have Doomsday in the trailer so they know. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I can imagine they were probably already conspiring to like sabotage his stuff even by the time BVS was being promoted. Hence why they didn't release the Ultimate Edition. Hence why they revealed everything that's gonna come out in the movie in the trailers. They were. I feel like it was already sabotaged by that point. They were already trying to find a way to sabotage it.
Right.
But, anyways, all that to say that yes, in the end of the day, let Zack Snyder do what he's gonna do, restore the Snyderverse, at whatever capacity it is. If it's that WB wants to still be stupid and show no love, and it has to be just AT&T and HBO Max working with Zack, I'm fine with that. But they would be stupid to like just do that, And I think the success of this film will wake up some eyes. I feel like once they see the success of the film, like I think a few heads are going to be on the chopping block as far as Warner Brothers is concerned, and I think that'll dictate the future of the DCEU for real, like what's really canon. Seeing that, like I said, that was a topic of discussion today, or maybe yesterday, I should say. But I think that's what it is, man. And everything else is not canon. You know what I'm saying? Birds of Prey,
Right.
not canon. Joker, well, that's already not canon. The Batman with Robert Pattinson, not canon. Um, And hey, whatever. You don't want to add Shazam and Black Adam? Fine, not canon. I honestly I can care less. You know what I'm saying? I really wasn't expecting them at first, anyways. When we first got the Justice League, or BVS with the Justice League at that point. I do think it would be cool though. Like I do like Shazam as a character, but if that's the case, let Zack Snyder treat give Shazam the Zack Snyder treatment. You know what I'm saying? Like take not Jeff Johns, having his input, letting Zack Snyder having full creative control. And I think that's where this should go. I think the success of the film will gear it in that direction. Um, like I said, with release the air cut being green lit, which I think will also be like, oh snap, this story actually connects even more to what we see um, in. And you know what? It probably actually would connect more with the storyboards that we saw, but I still feel like it'll probably still connect more, even so, with um, Zack Snyder's Justice League that we're getting. So I think we have a full consensus here, right, guys? Restore the Snyderverse.
Yeah. Yes.
DT, you still there, or did you knock out on us again? This guy probably knocked out on us again. At least he's not snoring this time. Oh man.
He said.
But
He said it's. I've said my final thoughts.
right. But anyways, let's end this up, right? We're already at 2 hours and 51 minutes. We've been talking long enough. So I
right.
see there's a viewer for whoever you are. Sorry that you're coming in right now, but hope one is we're about to wrap this up. This was supposed to be a Tuesday show. Talk about it Tuesday, but it landed on Wednesday morning. Here we are. So, but just going forward, like there is a plan for this channel, and that's to have content every day throughout the week. We have movie Mondays or motivation Mondays, something like that. I don't know, something along those lines. Talk about it Tuesdays, talk to me Tuesdays, whatever that's going to be. We're still working on the details. Word Wednesdays. I think we're gonna do Throwback Thursdays. Have discussions about that. Some just looking back at the past, talking about throwback stuff and things of that nature, maybe, or maybe even doing Trash Talk Thursdays where we just talk smack about some whatever we want to talk smack about, I guess. And
I want to talk about my neighbor Gary.
And then we'll have Freestyle Fridays where I come on and freestyle some stuff, and then probably freestyle the conversation as well, man. So again, just trying to stay active, be live, and have content for you guys to enjoy. I appreciate my co-hosts appearing today. Hopefully they can keep making it on. ET's knocked out right now. He's dreaming about the future. So hopefully he can come back with some vital information about how we gotta go forward with our YouTube channel here. But with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Hashtag restore the Snyderverse, man. And make sure to, if you don't have HBO Max already, make sure to subscribe if you have a way of doing so. And if you don't, there's ways of watching it. Make sure you find that out, because come March 18th, the baddest film of 2021 is coming out. And when I say the baddest, I mean the best film you've ever watched. And probably the best film of the decade. But with that being said, March 18th, the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Make sure you watch it. It's going to be some gloriousness going down. Peace out, guys.